ES Cinder, a remix of Dark Souls 3 by Rotaka. Folks, you know what that song means.
Maybe.
Question mark. Upward inflection.
Oh my gosh, I love that opening song.
It's a great
it's so
fucking,
good.
it's a banging opening song.
Yeah.
It sure is.
It's a super banger, and I'm super glad we found it. Cause
It's also our 63rd opener. So
it is. Well,
round 60.
yeah.
Well, yes.
It's like our third
the time
opener,
period
maybe.
of which we call the opening part of the show. It's the 63rd iteration thereof.
I suppose for this series. Right, though.
That's true.
So we've got previous ones.
There's a bit of perpetuity there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I should have named it continuity, not perpetuity.
Yeah,
I don't know what I
it's
was
perpetual,
thinking.
but
It is
still.
perpetual.
Yeah.
Regardless, welcome to Insert Credits Round 63 Perpetuity.
I'm Mr.
And I'm Tormod.
And I'm Saxxon.
Welcome, everybody. Friday night. Everybody loves their Friday nights,
Especially when we're not on call.
Yeah,
exactly.
That is lovely.
Yes.
We did it.
Yeah, you don't get to be on call.
Hey. High fives all around.
Hey, you don't know that.
High fives to you, internet people.
I
too.
have to do late night
Smush.
releases still. So.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But
Yeah.
hey, at least we're doing instant credits. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's true.
Housekeeping. We haven't gone into 2019 yet, have we? I don't think
we haven't
have.
binned 2018 into the dumpster it deserves.
Oh
Yeah.
man, just give it a couple weeks. It'll
It's
go
true.
there.
It's true. Almost literally a couple weeks.
I know, right? It's funny how that works.
But no, we haven't actually looked at dates for, let's say, round
boy.
64. That'll have to be on the 18th.
Or the week after, since you're on call on the 18th.
I mean, I wouldn't say no.
Oh, the week after.
That's Winter Remus, though.
It is, though.
I mean, we could do a
Okay.
special Weemus edition show.
We could.
I don't know if we've done that before. Actually, we have.
We've done that a couple times, I feel.
We have. I remember the last time was actually at the apartment.
So
I'm gonna say 006 was there for that, too. Maybe-
that very well could be.
Maybe Elford as well. I think.
I don't remember.
It's been some long time.
I don't remember
but
last week. I'm not gonna remember 4 years ago.
That wouldn't have been insert credits, so that would have been Seeking Infinity.
Oh
so.
my goodness, yeah.
Correct. So then we probably wouldn't have had a special Winter Remus one.
Well, I mean, you wanna?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, why
Sure.
not?
Yeah.
Sure, 25th.
Yeah, that'll make it.
Party time.
I mean, in addition to normal party time.
Oh, absolutely.
Will that be 64?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's gonna be 64. We'll have to decide if we're gonna do where we're hosting Winter Remus, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that came up with a few of our other folks as well, so we'll work
figure
something
it out.
out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's about all the housekeeping I feel like doing today.
Yeah, that's
Because
well.
the rest is in 2019, and
Yeah.
2019
Do you wanna
is
do one
still
more?
very far away. Do you have one in mind? 15th?
Yeah,
perhaps?
that'll be
Okay.
my 3-year anniversary at work. Actually,
Yay! All right.
Well, the
65.
second time, anyway.
well, at that job, yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be 65.
Ooh.
Oh,
Okay.
dang! That means that 2019's gonna have episode 69. Nice.
Nice.
When'll that be? All right, so
March,
65.
April, May, June.
Dang.
June will be the the nice episode.
That's really funny because that'll also be the same month that we're together for 5
Yeah.
years. Nice.
nice.
I like it. That's real good. Oh, great.
Is the 9th
boy.
on a Friday? Because
Uh,
6/9?
No, it
No.
isn't. Sorry, it can't be that nice. Oh wait, that's May. Hold on a second.
No, it's
No,
a
it'll
Sunday.
be a
Oh,
Sunday.
yeah,
Dang
okay,
it. Not
well.
as nice.
Yeah.
some year, I guess.
I think it might have been last year.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Let's see. Got the magic of the internet.
Add a calendar.
Oh, the 9th was a Saturday last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's pretty nice.
So the year
Yeah.
before it would have been Friday then. Okay. Unless it was a leap year. Who knows?
Correct, yeah, that would have been Friday.
Yeah.
But if we're going like normal people calendar, it would have been the 6th of September. Dang. That might be 2019, actually.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because you use the funky
Hell
date
yeah.
format, so you would be
Yeah.
all about this.
2019, 6th of September is a Friday.
Wait, you do Monday through Friday and then Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I haven't
'Cause
seen that in a while.
Sunday is weekend.
Yeah.
Like, why would it start the next week? That's weird.
Yeah.
I've just never
That's-
seen you actually utilize a
It's
calendar
weird and
before.
silly.
I got used to
Anyways.
your special 24-hour
Oh,
time
yeah,
now.
special 24-hour. You mean
Now I
that
have to-
unambiguous 24-hour time. Thank you.
People in this, people in our society use calendars, Tormod.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just also not used to the whole 9/6/2019, meaning the 9th of June. That's the everywhere else in the world thing that I just can't wrap my head around without using some sort of word in there somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm all good with 14 Des 2018.
Yeah,
for
I'm good with
today.
that. Or 2018
-12 -14.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or that. Like
which
some
is real good.
consistency. Don't have the small one in between the large and the medium
Yeah.
one. Why would you do that, US?
Yeah.
Bunch of idiot. Well, we also use the imperial system still, so that's really good too.
Yeah.
And apparently so does England to a degree, which is real weird.
No.
I've learned.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked.
But at least they redefined the kilogram
yeah.
with magnetic fields or something. I don't know. I read the article and I didn't understand any of it. So
I
it's
almost
like,
just
okay.
went, "Ha, global warming, pshaw," and I was like, wait a second. Oh.
Oh, too soon.
Yeah.
Flat Earth? Shrug?
Oh,
Oh.
that's funny still. That's still good for a laugh.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the end of housekeeping.
Yeah.
So we whinge about date formats and the kilogram and all that.
ISO is
ISO is
ISO's
good.
Bay.
ISO is very good. And we should
So
all
has
use
been
it.
Q.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I don't.
I saw what you did there. What?
Oh boy.
Disk image formats. BenQ.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, really?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Oh.
dang. Yeah, it used to be a thing before ISO really was the encompassing format.
Oh, I
Well,
see.
You would have a bin file that was all the data, and a Q file
Oh,
would be like,
BenQ. I was thinking. Yeah, I thought you were either saying BenQ, the
Yeah,
the,
no,
the
sorry.
cheap brand, or BenQ is
Yeah.
in bin and the letter Q. I'm like,
no,
what?
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like-
I know what BenQ is.
Yeah,
Never
because the
mind, never
Q
mind.
sheet tells you which track to start on
Yep,
and what the
yep,
format
yep.
is.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that the standard?
Yeah.
Fuck,
BenQ
whatever.
is way better for CDs, but ISO is DVD
For
and
data,
up
yeah.
Mhm.
effectively.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, around the world. Let's get
Yeah.
to some actually Vigigame and Vigigame accessories related topics.
Oh, we have so much to talk about.
Lots of stuff about stores and streaming. This
Yeah.
go around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some good stuff.
So Nintendo is ending, or has already ended, maybe. I don't know. I wrote this
Yeah,
down a long
I'm
time
pretty
ago.
sure that that's gone now.
Their
Yeah.
their very weird YouTube creators program where they mandated they would get 30% of ad revenue or whatever other revenue you generated off your YouTube videos, which
Uh-huh.
nobody ever really liked.
Well, yeah,
But-
it's basically an extortion program.
Yeah, pretty much.
I
I
mean,
mean, they're already really hard on people trying to stream their crap because of IP and whatever, which is well within their rights, but it's
Yeah.
still annoying. But they've simplified and modernized with some yeah, exactly, with some generalized rules around broadcast and monetization with using any Nintendo IP. They're still restricting it to official affiliate and partner programs across some major services like Twitch affiliate, Twitch partner,
Mm.
Yeah.
Mixer stuff. I forget there was another example, but I didn't write it down.
It's
Which
real
is
interesting how they're
still
going
strange.
to try to enforce that. But
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
But at least they're taking a step, so kudos.
They also have restrictions in there too, like no illegal content, no.
Right, no ROM dumps, no unreleased stuff, no
Right.
pirated stuff.
But the other thing that people were starting to get kind of concerned about was, what about randomizers?
Yeah, or like
Mhm.
playing, stuff on an emulator.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Which up to this point has been pretty much don't ask, don't tell. I mean,
Yeah.
but I think it'll continue to be
Yeah,
that.
like
because
you'll
of
never hear
this.
Nintendo say that you're allowed to use an emulator, but I'm pretty sure that that's not what they're going after people for.
But I want to play off my NES Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some other restrictions around like official Nintendo device capture stuff as well, like the streaming from the Switch or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like you need to add your own commentary or your own creative touches
Oh,
to it
that's
or some
exactly
shit
it.
like that.
Yeah, you're not allowed to just do a Let's Play unless you have commentary or something original on top of it.
Yeah. Which
Which I
is,
guess
like,
makes
okay,
sense.
That's good. I mean, that's
Yeah.
encouraging rather than just here is all the cutscenes stitched together. for
Yeah.
this game, which
Metal
I've
Gear
never
Solid
watched.
4 cough.
Oh
Yeah.
man, all the Metal Gear Solid games are actually make pretty good movies.
Yeah.
Just stitch them all together.
I remember that from Townhouse 7.
Hilarious.
I
Fucking
almost said the
hilarious.
first part of that too. Whoops.
They did
Yeah.
that with Max Payne 3. I remember sitting and watching a video, and that was a few hours long.
Yeah.
Like just watching the cutscenes from that game. I'm like, is there any gameplay in between?
I actually just watched all the cutscenes for Sonic Boom stitched together for that. It was
oh.
like 40 minutes or something, so
Yeah.
it's not that long, but it's just like Ooh. It was a little cringy.
Yeah.
It's a little cringy. I mean, the voice acting's good. The writing is not.
Yeah.
Welcome to Sonic.
I mean,
Yeah,
the voice
exactly
actors can
right.
only do so much with the material they're given.
Which is really
so.
unfortunate because it's like, oh, this could be funny. It's like, ooh, no, that's ooh.
Yeah.
Oh no, who wrote this? I'm so sorry, Sega. Your 3D Sonic games are not good.
I stand for Sonic Adventure 2. I will not back down, but that is as far as I go.
But was that still on Dreamcast?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Sonic 06 wasn't great.
No.
Sonic Boom was a glitchy nightmare. I feel like there's one more in there.
Sonic Colors.
Colors
That
and
was
Colors-
for the Wii.
Colors
Colors
was
is okay.
had a pretty good reception to it, I think.
Yeah.
There was one other one, I think. Was it Generation? No, Generations was a 2D one.
What was the one that you played at PAX that you disappointed the guy who you were
That
playing
was
it for?
I think that was Sonic Boom.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I felt bad for
No.
the guy. I really did.
Yeah.
It's like it's probably not his thing. I'm like, I was like,
Yeah.
it wasn't good. It
Oh.
wasn't good.
Oh, was he like, hey, so how did you, did you enjoy it? Were you having a good time?
And I was like, it was good.
Oh my god.
Meanwhile, I was tired and sitting on
Yeah.
the floor, and I was just
Yeah.
gonna like,
Oh, we better
Yeah.
go.
the fun to time waiting in line to play it ratio was not in their favor.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
no,
So
no, what?
no.
Hello,
Okay.
Eon. You're saying things.
Poor guy. I really do feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Oh well, you can't win them all. So speaking of pirated and dumped stuff or whatever, a retailer, quote unquote, accidentally released physical Smash Brothers Ultimate carts early.
Cough, cough. Accidentally.
Yeah.
Teehee.
I know, right? Massive air quotes.
Uh,
And of course, people got a hold of it. And of course, they dumped the ROM. And of course, the ROM made it online. And everybody's tearing apart the code and looking for spoilers and shit. And,
Yeah. Didn't they extract all of like the cutscenes and stuff like that?
Yeah, and they dug through the code looking for characters, and they dumped the soundtrack, and it's like, we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
We just cannot have nice things in this world anymore.
and then people were releasing it with adware. And Welcome to the old days of downloading game rips on BitTorrent,
Yeah.
etc.
Well, fortunately
It's like-
now it's been released, so.
Well,
Yeah.
yes.
I too remember acquiring these through LimeWire.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah.
Wait,
right. Napster and Kazaa.
Oh, yeah.
Morpheus. Yeah.
Nobody knows what those are.
Not at all. Clearly
No.
not as we're recounting the names of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
I did not use Azarias. I did.
No, absolutely not. That was not a thing
Bear
to
share.
put on computer lab computers and let run forever.
Nope. Not a thing.
Definitely didn't run Napster on the T3 at middle school.
Oh,
Nope.
no.
Oh,
Not at
yeah.
all.
No.
Nope.
I'll deny it to my dying breath.
Mhm.
So lots of game store news too. So Valve has announced
Yeah.
a different revenue split now.
I wonder why.
Yeah, exactly, right? So they're reducing the cut that they take from the revenue for games at certain revenue breaking points. So if your game earns $10 million, no longer are you paying them 30%, you're paying them 25%. If your game earns $50 million, you're paying them 20% instead. The split is the same for less than $10 million. So guess who this doesn't affect at all?
Everybody who's not publishing like AAA titles.
Right.
So that
So
that doesn't do anything for like the vast majority of games.
yeah, so on its face, I mean, it sounds good. Like, oh yeah, finally they're like making the revenue splits a little bit more friendly to
They're not
developers.
giving back to the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that.
Oh
yeah.
boy. So obviously the smaller devs are not happy,
Yeah.
No.
as I would not expect
No,
them to
of course
be.
not.
Because they're really trying to court and keep AAA devs and publishers to keep using Steam, even though they got Uplay and what's the other dumb bullshit one I'm thinking of?
Shite.
Battle.net, I think, is a
Yeah,
sort of
that's
distribution
sort
thing.
of one
Blizzard's
now.
BattleNet
etc.
is Activision.
Yeah, Origin is the other one I'm thinking
yeah,
of. So we've
that's
already
EA's
got a
crap.
lot of AAA pubs that pub their own stuff through their own storefront.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're not going to court anybody away from like they're not going to get EA to release stuff outside of Origin like that. Like it doesn't matter how sweet they make the deal.
They certainly will not. But this all leads to a lot of other different storefront news. And
Yeah, why
you
not?
can
Oh,
go ahead
yeah.
with those.
So, Epic Games has decided to announce their own Steam rival coming in 2019, where their revenue split is 88-12
Yeah.
for everybody. And that's a significant improvement.
It
However,
sure is.
Discord today has announced that they're going to have an Epic Games rival coming in 2019, where the revenue split is 90-10. But wait,
There's more.
itch.io has existed for some time now, and it already offers a selectable revenue split for developers who choose to distribute through their platform, anywhere from 0 to 100%. You can choose not to give them anything.
Mm-hmm.
Their rationale is, it costs us next to nothing to run this website. We don't need your cash.
And that's kind of the real discussion around like game stores and all this stuff. Like
Mhm.
Steam has Steamworks and online leaderboards and chat and community stuff and all this. So it's like you have to question like what's the requirement to keep that sort of stuff up.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so they track achievements and they have their stupid little playing cards and
Yeah.
other garbage. The Steam HUD, I turned it off. I
Yeah, the
sign out in
overlay isn't
chat.
great. Yeah.
I'd rather not launch the client if I want to run a game.
Yeah.
They enforce their fucking DRM,
Mhm,
etc.
mhm.
I mean, it's a good system because everybody has Steam. Cool. You get a Steam key. You get your reviewer copy of something. You get your pre-release. You get whatever reward you get through your bundles and whatnot. Sure, it's ubiquitous at this point.
Mhm.
Let's see that broken up a little bit. It's kind of a monopoly at this point. So, itch.io, though, really glad that Mr. Kavanaugh, of all people, decided to say, hey, by the way, this has existed for some time
Sure
now.
has. Yeah,
And it's good for
pretty
my
nice.
trashy little indie crap things that I just kind of shit out, as well as my bigger titles. And I could just choose how much to give them for it.
Mhm.
And it's neat. And
Yeah.
it's a cool little website.
I mean, not to shit all over Valve, that's done some pretty solid work in, getting consistent controller APIs and
Yeah.
doing better audio stuff and contributing some of the source code back so other people can use it. So it's like they've been doing some good stuff, but 30%?
Yeah.
Is that really required?
Yeah, that's quite large.
And
I
it turns
mean-
out it's not.
I'm paying them to play games on their platform. I will shit all over them left and right. Like they can do some pretty awesome stuff, but I still get to shit on them as a customer for all of the things that I don't like.
Correct.
Gee, imagine that. Like, competition causing this kind of discussion?
Yeah.
Imagine.
Well, I was really excited to see Epic. Like so it sounded like they've been wanting to do this for a long time. Like you remember when they first released the latest Unreal tournament, like their they decided to call their new UT. And they kind of decked it out like a storefront. They had like a regular game section. You could select the game you want to play, like a mod section, because like Epic's always been like they've put the spotlight on modding their stuff and building
Yep.
games on their engine. And so it was really just a natural progression to be like, hey, so we kind of want to open this up.
I do think Steam has done some interesting things, like the all-encompassing controller support's kind of nice, where it can do its own little translation layer that's in there.
Yeah.
Their music library is kind of cool if you ended up getting some DLC that included the music, where
Yeah.
you have your own little music player that's built in. I guess it can kind of export the songs to normal locations instead of your Steam library. But
Yeah, I just go into my Steam library and pull them out to my own stuff.
Yeah,
that's about what I
use
do.
their basic ass interface.
yeah. I'm just trying to think of stuff that they've done.
Yeah.
But the
controller
game,
API is the big one.
the game wrapper wine-like thing is kind of neat.
Yeah.
I do give them props for that. That has opened up some doors. Even though the Steam Link kind of flopped and failed, they've now released the code where you can essentially turn a Raspberry Pi into a Steam
Yep.
Link device,
Mhm.
which is good.
Yeah.
Glad to see that. But yeah, they have a huge built-in now captive audience because Steam
Yeah.
still is for now the de facto game store. Everybody talks about their Steam library. I don't hear anybody talking about their Origin library
Right.
Yeah.
or their Uplay library. Probably for
Yeah.
good reason because those companies are trash, but whatever. So we'll see if it turns into, oh hey, my Epic Store library, or my what was the other one we were talking about? Discord library. There we go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so,
That'll be interesting. Like,
yeah, Itch library.
Yeah.
Or I guess we've kind of forgot GOG in the mix there, but
That's
Yeah.
true.
they've been around for quite some time.
yeah, they're still doing really well for themselves. So
Yeah.
So I see it as good moves all around. I think Valve, way to be the weakest ass move in that one.
Yeah. I think
We'll
that
see
like,
how they retort.
Readjust.
Valve
right?
has definitely innovated, and they definitely have like the huge base in order to be able to fund all of the research and stuff that goes into what they do. But it tends to be that like other companies kind of see what they're doing and think, we can kind of do this better. We'll just let you all do all the research, and then we'll just like come by and see if we can just start swiping.
Yeah, they were the upstart with starting Steam, and now they're the big behemoth that can't really turn on a dime anymore, and then make little weak moves like this. So they're gonna have to do something else, I think.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're gonna start losing big time. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday.
Darn.
Oh well.
Mm-hmm.
So you brought up Epic Games' new Unreal Tournament.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
this really kind of angered me a little bit because I love Unreal Tournament as like a
Same.
series and as a concept is one of my favorite games. They have stopped active development on the new Unreal Tournament.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, their last release for it was summer 2017, and the kind of their official stance on it is they are shifting resources to Fortnite.
Yeah.
Which
I understand, but also I'm really sad about that. It kind of feels like they had that also kind of weak faith in Unreal Tournament 3 when they did that, because like Gears of War was overshadowing everything that they were doing at the time. So
yeah, it's really an unfortunate move. Like I get from a business standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. Like Fortnite is the hot thing.
It's not my thing, but it's
it is a hot thing. Excuse me.
Yeah. It's
but
undeniable that they're experiencing some wild success with it.
They're getting some huge payoff from it. So I mean, that's makes sense, I guess. It doesn't stop me from being disappointed because I like Unreal Tournament a far sight more than Fortnite. But hey, dang, dang. 5 years after its initial reveal, Cappy Games will finally be released, or has finally released Below yesterday. In fact, 13th of December. It's a game I had played the first time at PAX West, I want to say 2014, back when it was still PAX Prime.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while. That's why I was just like,
it's definitely been at that event for a few years.
Yeah.
A few years running. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to play this.
Has it seen very much change since?
I don't know. I haven't played it.
Oh, okay.
I need to grab it though. It's something I enjoyed a lot. So I really want to see what the changes are 4 years later.
Yeah.
And see if it's still the same kind of deal I played back then, or if it's something even better. Because I generally enjoy Cappy Games stuff, and I can't imagine Below is going to be any different as far as fit, finish, and polish, and all that cool, fun stuff I love about indie games. So we'll have to see that very soon. That'll be added to my list of future games very soon. All right, what else we got for news?
Well, we're already talking about Smush, and I hate that name. But Super Smash Bros. Ultimate launched. And people are already whining about the gameplay, saying it's just about as shitty as every other Nintendo Online title.
Well, online, yeah.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
But online gameplay, yeah. So, I haven't had the chance to play it yet. But the music's sure been memed on a whole lot, which makes me real excited as a fan of Silva Gunner. Thank you, EI.
Yep, thank you. Also, damn it.
Yeah. Speaking of Switch, though, as you know, if you pay for Switch Online, you get an interesting curated library of NES titles that you can use. Nintendo's finally actually shipping out their NES controllers for the Switch. Mine supposedly shipped. I have no idea where it is.
It's so tiny. Those controllers are so tiny, aren't they?
No,
are they bigger than the Joy-Cons at least?
Yeah, they're the normal NES controller size.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just go plonk right on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly you can use them in games like Mario Kart 8.
Wow.
You just don't have as many buttons as you need.
Well, it's I
can
see that being a
look
problem.
Behind you and things like that, but you can still use items and like hop and drift and all that other stuff. So because it has shoulder buttons.
Oh.
Like normal Joy-Con.
So it doesn't even have the normal Joy-Con amount of buttons on it? It's just shoulder buttons, D-pad, and A-B, pretty much?
And no tilt controls or anything. It's kind of weird. But whatever.
Okay.
I wanted them because they're NES controllers, and my Joy-Cons kind of blow ass. So...
And they're the classic Famicom colors on it too, right? Or do they have the US style gray, black, and red? I thought I saw like the Famicom red and gold.
Well, that's not true. The
whatever.
ones that are like literally attached to the console, no, they're not like that. But I want to say that it's just the US NES release. but I thought those were kind of neat.
I like those. Yeah, it was good design.
Yeah, for sure. But they've added more games to that library lately, including more souped-up options. I don't know if you heard, we probably haven't talked about it, but The Legend of Zelda 1, the very first one, received a souped-up version in their words.
Oh, yeah.
Where you start with a mostly full inventory, and you start the game with that, and it's easy mode, and people think that's accessible for the kids, etc. So,
Sure.
whatever
Yeah.
gets them into playing it, everybody's already had their little bitch fest about it, and I'm not even going to bring it up. So,
I mean, of course they're going to complain about a game mode they're not going to play.
yeah, exactly.
As one does. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. But there are now more options like that, including the original Metroid, where you start with a mostly full inventory right before Ridley.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wait, you start right before Ridley?
Yes.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a little miffed by that. Come on.
They don't start you at the beginning of the game. You just get the mostly full inventory and upgrades and everything, and you're right before Ridley.
Jeez.
So,
I mean, that's a tough game, let's be honest, but still, that's not the point. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to complain about it if I'm not going to play it.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Stupid bullshit.
That's fine. That's fine.
See, I just
Oh,
I
dang
just
it.
make mention, but now that it's Metroid, oh boy.
I mean, at least the Legend of Zelda thing, they start you at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're not
That's
starting you
fair.
before, like, the penultimate boss.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyways.
I want them to have like a Zelda 1 Oko second quest challenge. That would make me happy.
Mm.
I'd watch speedruns of that. Anyway, I already do. But let's see here. What else? Final Fantasy 15 has sure had some turbulence lately.
Yeah.
What with Tabata leaving the company and most of the DLC that's remaining being canceled.
Right.
And it kind of threw the whole, well, NVIDIA promised this lovely upgrade with DLSS for this game, and oh look, the director for the game just left the company. Well, fuck. So,
Quick, push it out the door. Hope
Yeah.
that nobody notices.
well, they actually unexpectedly released the update that included the DLSS option. However, it's only available in 4K 60. Yeah, you can't turn it on for any other resolution or frame rate combo. It's in beta. That might be why.
Okay.
And they're still going to be tweaking it.
Yeah.
However, in combination with the NVIDIA driver that was released yesterday that enables DLSS features on the cards, I actually got 4K 60. It was interesting. Granted, I have an RTX 2080 Ti.
there's the other shoe
Well, that's
dropping
what
right
that's
there.
what they're saying is with that card
Mhm.
and this driver combo with that patch, you should be able to do max settings 4K 60.
Okay.
Spoilers, I couldn't.
Oof.
However, I turned off some things, and I was able to maintain 4K 60 in-game and also stream and encode at the same time with X264 encoding.
But the other caveat being the processor that you have, which is a
Well, that's
Threadripper.
That's true.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do have a 2950X.
Yeah.
And
all
32
right.
gigs of RAM. And a 2080 Ti.
Okay. So this is like a $2,500 machine.
Yeah, a little more than
Probably more than that.
that. Because the graphics card is half that.
Yeah.
But they were mostly true to their word. There will be further optimizations for it. I will say that when I was playing yesterday, I was able to stream at 720p 60 with the medium preset, and I was able to drop less than 2% of rendering frames in OBS. And I kind of futzed around with different options like, let's give the encoder 16 threads, let's give the encoder 12 threads, let's process lasso the OBS processes to only the first 8 cores on the processor and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it actually better with all of that shit turned off. Letting Windows actually manage the processes with its own scheduler was better.
Hmm.
And it was really weird.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I'm still on Windows 10 1809. I'm not using the new scheduler features in 19H1, which is the pre-release of next year's version of Windows 10 for the first half of the year. They already have better things going on in that I haven't tested yet with that processor of mine. However, I can play this beefy PC game in 4K 60 with DLSS and still be able to stream and have people in my stream tell me that it looks fine. that's okay. And this was at 720p 60 at about 3,500 kilobits. So I could have been doing 1080p 60, but no. That would have made it look like total ass, because it's a really high action game with a lot of motion, honestly. Like, there's so much color information going on at the same time. If you don't want to compress the hell out of it, like, you gotta bring down the resolution some. So it was real interesting. But I mean, if I were to try to play almost any other PC game, or even with consoles and whatnot, sure, I might get some better performance, but I'm only encoding with a GPU on my local recordings now anyway. But new graphics drivers out there was released yesterday. I want to say it was like 417.64, I think is the version. So it's out there, freely available. It's another 560 megabyte graphics driver. Woo!
Yay!
Real exciting. But one thing that I do have to say about DLSS, compared to not having anti-aliasing turned on at all, I prefer the look of no anti-aliasing. I like the crispy, jaggy edges because it actually looks more real to me. In a game like that, at playing that high resolution, it does. When I turned it on with DLSS, I could tell that there was a loss of quality. So,
Yeah.
because it is using the tensor cores inside of the new RTX cards to predict what the pixels are supposed to be. It doesn't actually completely load those textures, and that's how it gets the speed boost. Instead of relying on all of the computation, it makes assumptions on what those things are.
Yeah, using statistics to kind of fudge it most of the way.
And yeah, I got the frame rates up, and for the most part it was okay. And then I panned the camera down.
Uh-oh.
So I am at a place in the game where I was testing encoding settings because it was real interesting. There was rain effects, there were water things going on, boulders, sunlight cresting over a ridge or something like that. It's something to cause a lot of contrast. And I panned the camera down and I looked at the water and I saw really peculiar cube-like reflection things. Like, the sun should be round, not a rounded cube that looks like a giant pixel. And I was just kind of like, this is a little effed.
Oh,
So-
did you also have like the ray tracing turned on, or
Well, I mean, that's what DLSS does.
no?
Well,
DLSS and ray tracing
Okay,
are
no,
two different
the,
things.
Yeah,
the
that's
ray
two separate
tracing
things.
part of the engine, the game actually needs to be written to use that specifically. DLSS is its own thing, sorry. But no, like, it guesstimated things in a really strange way with reflections of light sources. And I was just like, this looks kind of weird. And I did point it out on stream, but if you want to go take a look, I've got a few VODs because I cut several times after switching settings and stuff yesterday. But twitch.tv/TormodWolf, you'll see my latest recordings yesterday. There might be 5 or 6 of them, but just go page through them and you'll see hopefully stark differences in quality over time. But it was real interesting. They say it's a beta. The game itself will be getting its own patch updates to better enable the feature. Of course, the driver will be as well. So they're kind of working in tandem, but they are two separate things. So we'll see. I don't know. Like, I think it looks kind of neat. I might go back to 1440p with no anti-aliasing turned on. I don't know yet. But we will see. It was faster, how do I say, with all of the same things turned off and turning anti-aliasing off, I got about 42 frames per second. But when I turned on DLSS, I got up to 60. So DLSS makes it faster than not having any anti-aliasing at all. However, there is a quality drop. Most people will not notice that, but I did, because I know what it looked like when it was like super really gorgeous and I was running at a lower frame rate. The detail is given up, even though it's running in that 4K resolution, to make it faster.
Yeah, so I read a review, and they were talking about it, and basically it renders it at a slightly lower resolution, and then uses DLSS to fill in the gaps as opposed to like calculating them. And so that's how it can still run in 4K, but not like it's not internally rendering at 4K at that point.
Yeah, I don't know.
DLSS NetHack.
I mean, how many millions of frames per second do you need, buddy?
A lot. I need to see that Lich King coming around the corner or whatever before I just barrel into it.
I mean, you're gonna have VSync turned on anyway.
Nah.
No. Okay.
Well, wouldn't matter for these monitors.
60 FPS.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Hey.
What else do I have here? Oh, let's see here. Well, in actually 2 weeks for realsies.
Yeah, literally 2 weeks.
Literally 2 weeks. It's going to be the end of year stream.
Wait, why is...
Not end of life, like I accidentally said last time.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I was like, why is it bolded?
Yeah,
of course it's
Armageddon
end of year.
2018, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, never mind. End of year 2018, the streamed party that's not a marathon, but it might as well be.
It's not.
I mean, it's not for charity. It's a marathon of us staying awake too long.
It's
That's
for
about
us.
as marathon-y as it's going to get. It's going to be between the 28th and 29th of December. Shrug. It's not super set in stone yet, like as for times, but if we play our cards right in the next 2 weeks, we'll have something very cool with the capital letters on the first letter of both of those words. So we'll see what happens. If everything works out, we're going to have 4 Super Nintendos playing at the same time. It's going to be a thing. We'll see. But I suppose I should page down for your stuff, eh?
Oh boy, Bubsy races. Oh wait, that's Genesis. Sorry.
I was going to say, or PlayStation 1, or...
Was that on PS1 too?
Oh yeah,
I thought it
Bubsy
was
3D, buddy.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was a glitchy as shit happy fun time
Oh
there.
boy. Anyways.
So yeah, there's definitely a ton more hardware news that I'm going to get into. But while it's on my mind and it's not on my notes, Nova Drift. I believe it's a game that you and I had both kickstarted some time ago, and so we're getting there.
Almost
there's an actual release planned next year. Like this is like we want to release the game in this state. Plans for next year. And they had released an update recently that added a whole bunch of new stuff, more than I can reasonably mention here on stream. But if you're subscribed to, you can definitely check out the update.
Yeah, I'm definitely in that Discord server and watching the builds roll out. Unfortunately, I don't know if it was like a build starting in November or something. It stopped working in Wine. So I'm like,
that sucks.
Shit. I don't want to boot into Windows just for this, but I will probably have to do that at some point.
You reported that, right?
No, but I probably should.
Yeah, you definitely should.
They're like, hey, come on, guys. I want to play your game.
Yeah. So, yeah. Moving on. PlayStation Classic released. It has 20 built-in games. Some of the games that were released on this little mini console slash in the wake of the NES cash grab are not available on PSN. So like Tekken 3 is present on the PlayStation Classic, but you cannot like get it on PSN or anything like that. The console MSRP is about $100, $99.99 technically. And it was met with rather mediocre reception. Not as warm as the NES and SNES Classic.
Until people plugged a keyboard into it.
Well, that didn't make it any better. That just revealed that, hey, you might be able to hack this console. But, like, as is, you know, it's... I mean, a couple things are pretty cool. Like, they got the controllers spot on, but they're not DualShock, so... but they are USB, and apparently you can connect it right into your computer and use it.
Okay.
So that's a fun thing. The console itself it's got like an ARM processor. It runs a mod of PCSX. So there's PCSX rearmed, and then they modded it specifically for this product. So
yeah, it's real good.
Yeah, and as Tormod was saying, you can plug a keyboard into it and expose a menu just by hitting escape or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Only certain keyboards though, because they have some sort of weird USB ID filtering on it that only responds to certain ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was some other interesting security news with the PlayStation Classic too. Apparently, they shipped it with the security key in the system itself.
What, like an encryption key? Womp.
Yeah. So
Huh.
Sony doing their best
Yeah,
with security again.
beautiful.
Yeah,
So
it's
can
the
we?
greatest.
So
We
are
didn't
we
even need a
already able
geohot
to?
this time.
Yeah, exactly, right?
We're able to what sign software to run on this thing now?
Supposedly.
Oh my gosh, that's a new record. Holy cow!
It's incredible.
So
it
it's
really
a Raspberry
is
Pi
incredible.
that ships with some USB PlayStation controllers.
A very
Yeah.
expensive Raspberry
Yeah,
Pi.
I mean it's quite a bit.
Hey, it's got a nice case.
I
does.
guess.
The case itself is like it's so the unit itself is light, like it's lighter than you would expect. However, the lengths that they went to in order to reproduce a scaled down PS1 case, like the quality of the mold is really high. So there's a lot of praise for like the physical system itself, and the controller too. And the inside of the controller is actually like I think it's a micro USB connector. So like if your cord busts, you can just replace it with like another micro USB cable. So it's kind of neat.
Stored in the terminal itself.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
in
So
the
I just had
terminal.
to make sure that I was saying the right thing about this
Ooh.
self. So
Oh no.
yeah. So the software encryption key is right on there.
Womp.
Jesus.
Good job.
Yep.
Amazing. The Sony, everybody. This is Sony. This is what we
Yeah.
have to live with.
So yeah, it's I mean, it's a really cool idea. It's certainly like to cash in on the the craze with the NES and SNES Classic. It's not what people were hoping it would be. But I guess it's not in and of itself like a bad product. It's just it's not appealing, that's the thing. So
It's very quickly and slipshottily thrown together.
yeah.
And apparently,
So-
in people's examination of this as well, that they found character strings and whatever referring to different titles that may have been on there,
Yeah.
but they couldn't put on there for some reason, probably for licensing issues or
Yep.
some other bullshit.
Oh, and
Right.
it's a bizarre mix of NTSC and PAL versions. So some games are like
Brilliant.
the PAL release, but they're still being like,
Rendered at 60.
Yeah.
Well, they're rendered at 60, but I mean, like the game itself plays at 50, so you get this weird like frame jitter thing going on. It's I want to say Gamers Nexus did a very in-depth review on the difference between like playing on a PS3, the real console, like a real PS1,
Uh-huh.
and the PlayStation Classic. And the Classic ended up having like the most inconsistent like frame times, which is really poor experience. I guess the PS3 holds up
Oh,
extremely well.
my
So
goodness.
their recommendation is basically like, yeah, if you want to play these games, just get the PS1 disc and buy a PS3 and just stick it in that. So, or play it on PSN.
Yeah. Or grab an emulator. How? how are they so bad at re-releasing their own games?
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, let's just wait for the PS2 Classic.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
that's gonna be interesting. Given that like you need an extremely beefy computer in order to be able to play like some PS2 titles, effectively. So being able to shrink that down to like an ARM processor, I don't really see that happening unless it's something ridiculous.
got to get that emotion engine going.
Yeah.
That's what they called it.
Yeah.
PCSX2 though. If you ever need an emulator cough, I'm not
Works pretty
advocating.
well.
Yeah.
We do not endorse the
At
use
all.
of emulators.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's real good though. I
It
remember
does do
using
the
it
job.
on my very first laptop with an i7 and it was flawless. And ever since then it's been real good. So like 2013, 2012 maybe?
There are still some games like going to play Grandia 3. Gosh, I haven't tried it on like my newer system, but every system prior to that, I could not get 100% frame rate on that game during some scenes, especially the ones that's like heavy bloom because it's a very late PS2 title.
Hmm.
So,
Does that match the console experience though?
no, the console is really smooth.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was also laggy there
Yeah,
too.
no, it's
Spot on
Grandia 3
emulation.
is like the quality of graphics in that game are roughly on par with Final Fantasy 12, and you know how smooth that game plays and how good it looks at all while doing that.
Oh yeah, 4K 60, good old FF12 action going on. Well, technically 4K 30 because the engine can only go up to 30 FPS, but still.
Yeah, I mean, this really shouldn't surprise you because Grandia 3 was also a Square Enix
Right.
one, so
I don't remember Final Fantasy 12 at all.
it's probably one of the most beautiful games on the system.
Heck,
All
go on
things
foot.
considered.
Ah, yes.
There.
Okay,
Yeah.
There
thank
you go.
you.
I had to think of your quote that
Thank
you used
you.
to use.
That wasn't my quote. That was VG Cat stuff.
Well, yeah, but you loved it.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, that was license grid to wear clothing.
Yeah, it illustrates everything wrong with those types of systems.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, man. All right, we ready for some Toonskis?
Oh, heck.
I'm ready for some
didn't-
Toonskis.
okay. I'm gonna skip my other.
Oh, sorry. I didn't. Yeah.
Like
okay.
I talked about the PlayStation Classic. That's it.
All right, sorry. It
I was
felt
gonna
like
say,
a
you have some
long...
other hardware
Yeah,
noise
okay,
there.
sorry.
I can
please.
breeze through some of these though. So a lot of processor news has happened since our last show as well.
Yeah.
So AMD is bringing back their Athlon name. They're kind of using it for their budget APUs. And they had released the 200GE, which is a locked processor. But motherboard manufacturers very quickly found out how to unlock it. And so just about all of them that sell a motherboard that support this thing allow you to overclock it anyway.
And that
Nice.
is because of AMD's AEG-SA RAM
Yeah.
timing / CPU firmware, low-level hardware software that gets baked into the BIOS.
Yeah.
And with every upgrade to that, you get better, faster, more stable RAM, that kind of thing. It basically governs how the CPU talks to the RAM bus and things like that.
Okay.
So, their latest version of this that was posted for this series processors, which I want to say is 1.0.0.6, I think, basically allowed you to set your own multiplier up to, let's see here. I was reading one earlier today where they volted the processor at about 1.62 volts, which is really high.
That does sound obscenely high.
But they got the clock speed up to 4.05 gigahertz. And apparently
Dang.
it was stable enough to run Passmark's stuff, so Cinebench and all that.
Mhm.
So, yay! It was just really, really toasty. Now, I'm told that with processors with lower core count, that's actually okay.
Yeah.
You can run high voltages up to like 1.8-ish is where you should stop, but you can safely run a lower core count processor at higher voltages
Yeah.
like
And,
that.
and you got to
Hmm.
think like it's just because there's fewer transistors, and so you can, like,
Shove more wattage through it.
I guess.
Voltage, I guess.
yeah, voltage.
But yeah, that's why that works. That's why I've been also F5ing on the BIOS page for, let's see here, the stream PC for the marathon and my gaming PC, because supposedly there's going to be a new update that drops real soon with another AGSA version, and
Ooh.
that'll be real nice to retest RAM.
Hmm.
I'm up to 34 megahertz CL14 stable on my new box, where I couldn't even touch 3000 before.
You've decided to
Yeah.
Different, huh?
to go
Yeah.
into your BIOS and modify every single one of those numbers.
Okay,
Oh,
there's a
yeah.
point to
Come
that.
on.
There's a point to that. So somebody working in conjunction with AMD made this thing called the Ryzen RAM calculator, and it says, okay,
Mhm.
what is the actual manufacturer of the RAM chips on your RAM? And mine was the Holy Grail Samsung B-side RAM,
Mhm.
where everything is single ranked. And you basically say, I want to achieve this clock rate with this cast latency. I've got this type of RAM. Boop. And it puts all of the calculations in, and it does like all 26 values you need to type in for the RAM timing. And it gives you like a safe, a fast, and an extreme preset. Extreme, you need to actually have like a cooler on the RAM.
Uh-huh.
But I was able to get the safe timings for 3400 CL14 on all 4 sticks and have it constantly, every time I boot the machine, train up just fine. And I can run Prime 95 and not have it have rounding errors and things like that. So it really increased the performance of the machine, and I'm curious if the 1950X can do just as well as the 2950X with that software. Because with Ryzen and Threadripper having its integrated memory controller across, it's baked into the chip itself because they actually have separate nodes on the chip because there's such a high core count. Faster RAM is going to really unleash the possibilities for those processors. So, with the software that allows the processor to have these better and more stable RAM timings, we'll be able to keep nudging those numbers up higher, which will only do better for things like encoding. Because I had a significant jump in performance when I ended up applying the latest BIOS. So, looking forward to that. It's going to drop real soon. We'll see how it goes. But that's AMD's side of things.
Mm-hmm. Well, one other really quick item from AMD, they had they dropped the RX 590, effectively just squeezing the last bit of life from the years old generation. Like we've had the RX 5 series for some time.
Yeah. 3 years? 4 years?
Has it been 3?
I don't think has it been that long, really? I
Well,
thought
because
this is fairly
they
recent.
jumped from the 2 to the 5 series, didn't
Oh,
they?
did
No,
they?
they had the
No.
4 series.
There's
Did they
a 4,
really?
yeah.
They did
Mhm.
skip 3 though.
Oh, okay. I know there was a jump. I just couldn't remember if it was
I
1
think
or 2.
they skipped 3.
Just like Nvidia, actually.
Well,
it's just unlucky in some places.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh.
I just made that up. I have no
Well, I
idea.
mean, you might be right. You might be right.
Yeah.
It's unlucky now that you've said it is.
Yeah. So there's that. And then I'm gonna hop over to Intel for a moment. They Intel released the i9 9980XE. So they decided to use a different kind of like soldered heat spreader on this. That it's reported that it's impossible to like delid without destroying the thing.
Well, yeah, if it's soldered to the heat
Yeah.
spreader.
Mhm.
And they're also like having problems with it hitting its thermal limit before being able to like reach
Yeah.
its full potential.
Yeah, about that. So, apparently if you undervolt the processor so that it gets less warm, it will actually be more stable at higher clock speeds because it can maintain it.
That's awesome.
Because the heat is low enough where it won't do thermal
Interesting.
throttling. Yeah.
Yep. A lot. So there was gosh, I want to say it was both
Oh.
Tom's Hardware
boy.
and Nexus were like, yeah, actually, if you want to do this, just get the 7th gen, delit it, and do the thing, and you'll actually do better than this.
Yeah. This kind of goes along with Intel kind of just fucking up 9th gen, honestly.
Yeah.
Now,
Hmm.
interesting.
The 9900 is actually pretty okay, though.
It's like baby's first i9. So,
Yeah.
Well, it is
It's-
the first i9, isn't it?
no, it's not.
No? Did
There
they
were
do
some
that in
7
the 8 series as well?
No, 7th gen. We were just talking about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, those were i9s, weren't they?
No.
7th gen, yeah, they started the i9, I think, because that
Really?
was the 7980 that came out.
Yeah, because that was like the big old like
Oh, interesting.
12 core.
Yeah,
24
because that happened
thread.
right after Threadripper.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that was their desperation move. But no, honestly, Intel, they really bungled up the 9th gen because let's see here, the i7, the 9700K, is 4 cores.
Mm-hmm.
4 cores,
Mm-hmm.
4 threads.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And you needed an i9, the 9900K,
Yeah,
to get up
that's
to the 8
the
threads.
the
You
marketing
want the
split there.
hyper-threading, yeah.
Yeah, which honestly, hyperthreading is kind of trash. So, as I've been finding out in research with SMT lately, but anyway, yeah, no. Thermal performance is real not that great. It's real comparable to 8th gen clock speed wise.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, fortunately, the prices are somewhat sane, so they're about the same as 8th gen, which is why I recommended a friend get 9th gen and just suck it up and deal with it.
Yeah.
Because at least then you'll get a newer product, in theory.
Although this
Yeah.
ties into the other news item that I've got. Intel also announced Sunny Cove.
11th gen. Not 10th. This is 11th.
I suppose.
Correct. Right.
So it's probably like 2 years off, maybe.
It's going to be quarter 2 or 3 of 2020.
Yeah. So there's something very interesting about this. This took a number of people by surprise because it doesn't seem like we'd anticipated that this was going to be part of like their standard roadmap. So
Well, it was for a while, then it just kept getting pushed off and pushed
Yeah.
off, right?
Yeah, well.
and so it's the idea is that like effectively they're going to do like chip stacking. It's going
Yeah.
and they also plan to like kind of mix different manufacturing processes under the same like I don't know what you call that package, I guess. So the idea is that they don't have to worry about bumping everything up to the same process all at the same time. They can have like part of the chip, if they can get it down to a smaller process, that then they can just kind of plop that in.
So it's funny that this is all happening so quickly. Because something that I failed to put in the notes, which is directly related to AMD, is they have announced the new EPYC processors, which are the server line Threadrippers, basically. They use octa-channel RAM, that kind of thing. They've announced the concept of chiplets, which are tiny little chip clusters on a bigger die, and they all talk to each other that way instead of having. Regardless, it's a means to reduce latency between different parts of the chip, which will help us continue on to getting even faster IMC performance and things like that.
Ah, dang it. We've spread microservices to hardware. Abort.
Well, it's
Too late.
interesting because Ryzen 3 will actually utilize the same thing on the desktop side. And their highest end Ryzen 3 processor, according to leaks and things like that, will be the 3850X, which is going to be 16 cores and 32 threads. With a base clock of 4.1 gigahertz. Base clock. It can go up to about 5.
What?
That also uses chiplets. Now, we'll see. We'll see if this is a thing.
Yeah.
But it was advertised as about a $500 SKU. That's comparable to the i9 9900K, but vastly outperforms it in core count and things like that. And if we can actually get the base clock speed to be anywhere close to 4 gigahertz, I'm real curious.
Yeah, I'll believe that when it gets
Yeah.
released.
Exactly.
I'm
exactly.
skeptical right now.
However, the mobile line has already started leaking specs and benchmarks. So this last week, there were 3 different Ryzen 3 mobile APUs that were leaked as part of Passmark's Cinebench.
Yeah, they just
like
sort
that.
of showed up in Cinebench results.
Yep. It was the 33, 35, and 3700U.
Yeah.
And dang, those are the ultra low voltage versions of those, and they're really, really impressive compared to the Ryzen 7 2700U, for instance. So we'll see. Whenever HP decides to release those laptops, we'll actually get some real numbers coming out. So that means that the desktop side for Ryzen 3 could be here a little sooner than anticipated. So who knows? Especially if they keep support for the existing chipsets, it's literally just a drop the chip in kind of thing. That's how it's been the last few generations for AMD. So it's going to be real interesting.
Said they were going to support the socket for at least until 2020.
Well, for instance, Threadripper 1 and 2 both use X399 for their chipset. So that's kind of nice. And Ryzen 1 and 2 did the same. Now, they're talking about a 400 series chipset for PCI Express 4.0. And if you don't need that feature, at this point, we're probably fine doing what we're doing. So it might be an instance of, well, my next gaming PC upgrade might just be a processor and that's it. So who knows? If there's a significant enough performance bounce, even for the gaming PC, if we ever decide to do something that's extremely, I don't know, something that utilizes threads, like a lot of games are starting to do now. It's just a matter of, hey, 4 years down the road, let's not buy a whole new thing. Plop.
I still want to try out FL Studio on a system that has all of those threads.
I mean, sure.
One of these days, I'll figure out how good it really is.
Might move you over to Horizon 3rd Gen when those get released.
Yep.
So we'll see. 16 cores, 32 threads. We'll see if it happens on a desktop non-Threadripper processor, but that's been the thing.
4 strength, 4 stam.
Ugh.
So speaking of gaming PCs, and this is my last news item, Walmart.
Oh.
Ha.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Walmart, they started retailing gaming PCs.
They did.
They've called them overpowered.
That is literally the brand.
Yes.
Oh no.
Many reports of shoddy craftsmanship, mix-ups and shipping. Like people ordered like the high-end model and ended up getting like the low-end model and vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
I want to say it
shocked
was
face.
Paul's Hardware. Was it Paul? Or maybe it was Jay's 2 cents. One of those two received one of these Walmart PCs, and the graphics card was disconnected from the power, so like the system was not ready to go out of the box. It's not really a good time. And so like when the reviews started coming out for these things, Walmart decided to delist them from their store and relist them for a couple $100 cheaper. But it still it still only ended up being like $100 cheaper than like, you know, a comparable HP Omen, which beat the pants off of this thing anyway. So
Yeah. If you really want to buy a prefab gaming PC,
Don't
don't do it from Walmart.
yeah.
Gee, wait a minute.
It just and they also used like a power supply from a company that they like never really heard of. So
Yeah, because that turns out real well.
yep,
Like, hell, we even tried a power supply from a company that people did hear from, and it was DOA.
it is it was 80+ rated though, barely.
Oh boy.
They did the
I'm
power
proud.
stats on it, and it
Jeez.
barely like it could
Not
have
even
qualified.
bronze.
It
I should
could-
say.
well,
Browns, it might as well be.
The
Browns.
stats for the particular unit that Nexus tested would qualify for bronze, but he also suspected that like the reason why they couldn't is because not all units could hit that. Like they
Yeah.
got close.
Wow. Such
Wow.
variability.
Yeah, it's
So
quality.
Walmart gaming PCs that come with the power disconnected. So fun stuff.
yeah.
Some assembly required, apparently.
They do come in a
Asterisks.
pretty sweet case. I guess it looks nice. That's really the only positive thing about it though. So
That's something to say, considering. Never mind.
I guess I didn't
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah.
just go and see some reviews. I can link you some videos.
Oh boy.
If you are really curious about this, because it's oh boy, it's a spectacle.
I remember seeing it. I remember skimming one of the articles. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's about what I expected.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Toonskis.
All right,
Yes.
we good now?
Yep.
I'm not gonna cut you off again.
There's so much.
We start with
All
Sweet
right.
Dreams, coholent by Demons, Christine Gigier, and Dennis Bluteau from The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening.
Then a remix from Mega Man 3 entitled "You Got the Power" by Sinus.
And also a remix from Legend of Dragoon called Pale Ale from Bale by Aino Kiskatalo.
So we haven't done a real honest to goodness. What have we been playing for like the past 3 shows now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so guess what? This is going to include the marathons too.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm not even gonna put those in there.
I mean, I am. I need to pad up my list, damn it.
3 gosh dang hours if I put
suppose
my
I
stuff
should
in there.
too, yeah.
But I might as well start because
Yeah, go
mine's
for
probably
it.
the shortest list. Well, I don't know if I mentioned, but I ended up picking up a PAL GameCube, and that was an excellent decision because with the proper boot media, I can boot NTSC games as well, and obviously also homebrew. So rather than having to go purchase an expensive component cable because the transcoder is actually built into the plug itself, and it's just bad time. $200 isn't something I wanted to spend. I was able to buy a console, the Game Boy player, the American Power adapter, which conveniently plugs into a PAL GameCube anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The boot media, an additional SD card, a memory card adapter, and everything else I needed, really, for less than the cost of that cable. So it's convenient because the PAL GameCube can support RGB over analog, and you don't even have to mod for it. It just works.
Yeah.
So Retro Access / the old Retro Console Accessories page that they used to be known on eBay had a PAL GameCube cable that went out to the appropriate connectors, and I decided, why the hell not? We'll buy it, we'll figure it out, and see what happens. And it turns out it worked flawlessly. Now, the Game Boy player would traditionally ship with a disc, and that emulator or / software that was on there isn't the best. However, there's this thing called the Game Boy Interface, GBI, that is homebrew software that if you have a launcher to launch said homebrew, you can actually play anything from the original Game Boy games up through GBA. and it would actually render in 240p 60, which is real neat. And I decided to do that and got Tetris DX working for the first time on color mode for Game Boy since I had the handheld back in the mid-90s. And that was real good. Got very close and actually tied my PB a few times, but never actually below 1 minute and 28 seconds for 40 lines. But I have the capability of doing that. I did buy a couple adapters. I have a Nintendo adapter that goes into the GameCube port, so I can use the old NES control pads, as well as the Super Nintendo controller. And that's what I was traditionally using when I was doing my streams on the Super Game Boy 2. So it was real familiar for me to be able to do that. So it was a good time. Tetris DX is going to be something that returns to stream occasionally. It's just something I binge on for maybe 3 or 4 hours and be done with it for a while. Other Tetris games that I've played include Tetris the Grandmaster. However, you are not going to find any of those videos on Twitch anymore because Eureka has some very interesting and specific requirements for videos. So I'm not even sure I'll stream it anymore because I don't want to get yelled at.
Ooh, I will have to find out what those requirements are, considering that was one of the exhibitions in Super Stigma Slam 2018.
Yeah, we might need to remove the VOD.
I published that one out.
Yeah, I just wouldn't.
Okay.
Just don't do that.
Duly noted.
Similarly, we ended up doing Tetris the Absolute, the Grandmaster 2 Plus, which will also need to not happen. So, and we also did that at the most recent Extra Life.
Yep. Okay.
So, beyond those, and I did love playing doubles mode with Eon. If Eon is still here, let's actually go ahead and get back together and do that again because it was real fun. Communication is real important with that. I finally got the hang of, okay, this is the kind of thing I'm dealing with, and eventually I got a little better. But anyway.
It was amusing to watch you two get in each other's way, though. That was very funny.
I mean, yes.
It's like, no, the blocks, they can't kiss any deeper.
Moving on. Octopath Traveler for Nintendo Switch. I want to say I've got to be over halfway done with this game. I haven't done all of the story stuff yet, deliberately. I'm doing as much exploration as I can so that I can go find additional job classes and things like that. It's been really rewarding. I found a hidden dungeon and I got curb stomped.
Womp womp.
And I'm real high level right now, so I have not found better equipment beyond... Well, okay, that's not true. I was going through some hidden dungeon-y areas that don't have jobs associated with them, and I was able to get some real good stuff. However, not enough to not die to this boss. So I want to go try it again. I've already completely forgotten what its gimmick is, so we'll have to go try and fail. I got to the very last phase of the boss, and then it was just kind of like spamming TBKs constantly, and I'm like, well, that's really great. Thanks. Good old difficulty spike at the very end. So that was rude. But, yeah, now that happened. It's a fabulous game. The style is something that I really like.
Speed Gaming has and or had an Octopath Traveler tournament going on. And I forget.
I'm guessing it's a speedrun tournament?
I don't know. Because I don't know what the categories for it would be, but it's one of their more recent playlists on YouTube if you go check it out.
Yeah.
You might be interested in that probably after you finish more of the game, I would suppose. But...
Honestly, I guess after I finish the story proper, I probably will. But it's one of those games where, because, well, spoilers, there's 8 characters. I know, Octopath. I started with Cyrus, who is that his name? I think it's his name. The Scholar, because I resonated most with his character. And that I felt was a very solid start. However, there are obviously different routes to take. I mean, once you get your character and you go through their beginning little story quest, you can go anywhere the fuck you want. As long as you don't die. And that's real easy to do.
This is the real trick, isn't it?
Press A to not die, I
Yeah,
guess?
yeah.
But, no, I was very happy with my choice. Being able to identify enemy weaknesses just as a passive skill every time you enter a battle, that's real good. Otherwise, you have to determine them by smacking them with things until it shows that they're weak to it. and then it will remember from there on.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
But yeah, this one's just a freebie. Like 1 weakness for every enemy on the screen. Boop, you get it.
like that's the passive for him, is that
Yeah.
he identifies all that.
Yeah. And in the game, you only get 1 passive ability, and it's only the one from the character that you start with.
Oh, interesting.
So when you start the battle, at least with this character, I get the 1 freebie, and then there is a scholar skill where you can learn more by analyzing, and you can unlock more based on however many points you want to spend at a time. The game has some real interesting mechanics, and it should come as no surprise that it really reminded me of the Bravely series. Well, it was made by the same people, apparently. And that is another 2 games that I'd love to get back into. I need to figure out how I can rip my save for Bravely Default off of my 3DS and import it into Citra, because apparently Citra has platinum compatibility with Bravely Default and Bravely Second. And if I can play those games on stream, that would be really cool, because I really, really liked the soundtrack. The gameplay was cool. The mechanics were really great too. So that might be coming up in 2019. But that relates to Octopath. As soon as I'm done with my first playthrough, I'm probably going to continue playing it. It's a very good game. And this time I'll read about all of the game-breaking strategies, because everybody has their own little job class combos and things that they do. So far, I've been avoiding every build-out that I've seen online. Like, I'll go on Reddit and there'll be something posted in the Octopath subreddit, and I just kind of avoid it. But I'm trying to play as uninfluenced as possible the first time, because, I mean, once you look at stuff, you're kind of tainted. So that's pretty much it for Octopath. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is honestly getting kind of old for me. I love the game. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
I'm trying to switch it up a little bit by choosing different characters. One I was actually an incentive for Extra Life was we'd choose randomized characters, carts, and add-ons.
Random.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, I wasn't looking at the screen at all.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened that it worked out. It was sort of similar to a traditional build that I would use.
I did try to get Isabel, actually.
Did ya?
'Cause I was sort of aware of where she was on the character
Nice.
select screen, so I'm
Oh.
like,
Nice. I don't
Didn't
blame
work.
you. She's pretty cool.
She's a good dog.
Yeah. Obviously,
dog.
a good dog that's also in Smosh. I hate that name so much. It's so
Well,
terrible.
stop using it then if you hate it. Come on, man.
SMBU. No, SSBU.
SSBU.
Not the other one.
Correct,
SMBU
yeah.
is
that's
a totally different game. But yeah, no, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I really got to switch it up. I ended up watching a speed run of it when it was on Power Up with Pride that happened last weekend, I want to say.
Mhm.
And that was really cool. I started noticing some shortcuts and routes that I hadn't taken before. And honestly, at this point, in order to get better at the game, I kind of want to look at some maps of the actual tracks and be like, okay, so if I drive across whatever non-road terrain over here and I have a mushroom, I can skip ahead. Kind of like what we ended up doing with the dolphin bike on the Wii.
Mhm.
That's another game I want to break out again, is Mario Kart Wii. I think that would be fun.
Why'd they remove that from the Switch one? They should bring the Dolphin Dasher back.
They really should. Like, that was actually really cool, and it took a long time to unlock.
Yeah, I
Like,
think that was the
they made
last
you
one.
work for it. So, I don't know. I really hope with the longevity of the Switch that, obviously, this is kind of a remake, we'll say, of something that came out on Wii U, that they get their own version of Mario Kart for the Switch before they move on to their next console. Because getting kind of bored. 48
Yeah.
tracks is real cool. Like, I might turn on mirror mode because I've never done it before, just to see if I can be somewhat competent.
Yeah.
But
And
That's a good way to mess with yourself.
Not get screwed over by muscle memory.
yeah, no, I mean, at this point, I can be drinking fairly heavily and play the game and not be terrible at it, with some notable exceptions. But, whatever. I really want to get more kart racing games. They're real fun, especially the co-op modes that we've kind of been doing since Wii. I like that stuff.
Mhm.
I don't mind playing competitively, but
Yeah.
just seeing how much we can totally trash the other team is so rewarding.
Well, yeah, and like team play is also like a really chill.
Yeah.
It's just a really chill time.
And honestly, like, when people visit these days, I'm more about the couch co-op stuff than anything else at this point.
Yeah.
It's just more fun.
Trying to think of what other like racing games there are that would even be close to something like that.
I'm having
Just
a hard time.
to like casually
Yeah.
play fun. I mean, I got a bunch
Crash
of friends.
Team Racing's getting a remake.
Suppose.
I get a bunch of friends who are into Forza who just kind of BS online and do that, but
Yeah, it would be the more realistic racers is the
Yeah.
only other thing that really comes to mind. I guess the Sonic racing stuff has been
Yeah,
pretty
I've never
good.
actually
supposedly.
played one, so that would be interesting to give a shot.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of anything else that I played, like of my own volition, beyond what was in marathons, and I can't think of a whole lot right now. Oh, duh, Final Fantasy 15. I ended up playing that just to do benchmarking stuff, and I just kind of grinded in it. But
Mhm.
that was one game. I was on PC. I really like the dungeon design in that game. Despite the weird quirks and glitches and whatnot, I think it's actually pretty cool. But that brings me to the marathon content. I did very terribly at Battletoads, as per tradition.
Oh.
Jamestown, we ended up doing Divine.
Divine
We
Gauntlet,
tried
yeah.
Divine, and then we bumped it down to
Legendary.
yeah. Okay,
The next one down.
right.
We were getting there with Divine. It
It just needed some practice.
It was
first.
quite some time since we had both played it last, so
Yeah.
I'm not really surprised that we kind of got our asses handed to us. But
I think next time we actually just chill and play games for funsies, we should break it out again and just try.
Yeah.
Well, gee, there's this one event that's coming up.
No, I'm saying beyond that. When things
Yeah.
calm down in 2019, we can actually be like, hey, you want to
Oh,
hang out on a
boy.
Saturday when you're not having an existential crisis? Sure.
Oh man, you got to go until 2024 for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll find some time. We'll actually be able to play games possibly off stream. Oh gosh.
What is playing a game just for fun? That's a good ass question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
been
real good question.
It's ever since I started streaming on Twitch, I felt like this internal guilt for playing anything when it wasn't on stream. I actually felt bad. And oh god, that's a thing that needs to go
Wow.
away.
Yeah, I
They've
definitely
got their tendrils in you, man.
I definitely don't do that until after I play a game on stream. If I want to continue it, I'll do it off stream,
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah, for sure.
for the first time, it's just
Well, it's not even it's a specific time thing. It's oh, I'm wasting hours that I could be broadcasting.
It's right.
Yeah, no, that's the honest to
That's-
goodness thing that goes
yeah.
through my head, and it's not
It's
good.
it's a very strange change to how you think
Yeah.
about playing games.
Yeah, for sure. But beyond that,
Meh.
I vaguely helped with Pet the Dog at the Party by being like, that sounds like a dog. Go get the dog.
That is
That's
very,
about as much as my
very
interaction
helpful.
was. And then I was pointing to Leo most of the time because there was the dog. So
Oh yeah, the literal dog.
we did have an actual blind puppy at the marathon for Extra Life,
Mhm.
and it was good.
during the blind playthrough of the puppy petting game.
Right. So it was like
Yeah.
a multi-layer pun. It was good.
How meta.
Also a multi-layer pup. So,
I guess.
That's deep.
yeah. Leo, very good boy.
Oh boy.
He is a good boy.
Anyway, that's my exhaustive list in heavy air quotes.
Right.
Someone take the helm.
Yeah, I can take it because my list is also pretty short. And it's not for just lack of time. I have spent quite a bit of time. It's just been very focused on a few games. So the big one for me that isn't my usual is I've been playing a lot of Sin Gold. Sin is like a 1998 Quake 2 engine shooter. And it's I really enjoy playing it because it's kind of a different experience than a lot of the other first person shooters that came out around that era. It's so if you've played Half-Life, it's a whole lot more than just all running through the levels and just swinging at things. There's puzzles, there's navigation, getting lost in hallways and crap like that. So but Sin is very much that, but leans more towards the action side. So you're doing all of that other puzzle stuff, objective based things. It's it's a lot more story driven than Quake 2, which is the other the engine that it's based on. I also chose it because I wanted to put my Voodoo 2 setup through its paces. And anything based on the Quake 2 engine is perfect for that because it has native glide support.
There you go. Mid to late 90s, man.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So that's been great. I found out as a result of playing this that if I use my USB PCI card, with my external hard drive that I'm playing this game off at the same time, it slows everything the hell down. And it's not an interrupt problem because the Voodoo 2 does not use interrupts. So I don't know. I'm going to narrow that down.
That's such
someday.
a weird set of things going on there.
It's the 90s. Interrupt troubleshooting is still a thing.
Yeah.
So
IRQs.
yeah. So I'm not really sure what the deal is, but I'll figure it out eventually. I did get my AMD Athlon XP Mobile 3000 Plus installed, which is awesome. It's faster than any of the desktop versions that'll fit in that motherboard. So
Yeah, good old unlocked multipliers in the mobile chips. Because
Yeah.
they wanted to let it downclock, so why not overclock?
well,
Okay.
So the motherboard that I'm using won't let it go over the chip's like maximum clock, but it will allow you to underclock it as far down as you want. So like I have a multiplier range of like I can do 3x or I can do 16.5x.
Jeez.
Yeah, and what is your base clock with 200, 250, 225?
Oh,
Trying to
it's
think.
266 on this
Yeah,
board.
okay. I had to think it had to be in the 200 range there.
Yeah.
But I think it's really interesting how the modern base clock for almost anything AMD is 100.
I
That's
mean,
a nice
that
even
allows you to
number.
get a lot
Yeah.
more granular, with
yeah,
your
exactly.
multiplier settings. So
I want to see at some point, out of pure boredom, just to see how low I can clock the Threadripper down to. Just for funsies.
I did find out that the minimum I can go on this is with 3x, I can take it down to 400 megahertz.
Nice.
So
That's
yeah,
a...
Pentium 2.
Well, I was going to say that's a super fast
It's-
Pentium 2.
it really is. Well,
Is
because
it?
it's also got like a ridiculous cache on it too, because it's a Barton chip. So
Huh.
Well,
Half-
maybe not super
a whole
fast.
half a
Probably
meg.
middle of the range.
Mid-range, I would say.
Yeah.
half a meg of cache.
512 kilobytes. Yum yum. Got to gobble that right up.
Yep.
Dang.
Hilarious.
So I've been playing through a lot of Sin Gold. I actually played and beat it. Like I'd owned the game since it was new. Like when I was young, it's one of the few games that I owned. And had a lot of fun with. And I finally went back and beat it. And I think that it's a game that eventually I might consider running. I don't know if like how popular it is or anything like that.
I've heard the name tossed around lately by more than just you, so
Yeah.
who knows?
I mean, I love speedrunning shooters, but it feels like the likes of Quake and Unreal and stuff are just so, there's a lot of other people out there running these games. There's enough coverage that I don't feel like I would have anything to really offer. Not to mention, I'm not super familiar with those. But I think it would be able to blow through Sin pretty quickly.
Does that stand for something, or is it just Sin?
It's just stylized. It's
Okay.
just Sin.
Okay.
But and then there's also the Wages of Sin expansion, which I haven't played through yet. Which honestly, I think like doing a blind stream of that would be kind of fun. One of these days. But yeah, I also have been playing quite a bit of Quake 2, which also has native glide support, and an Unreal and the original UT, which also have native glide support, and
They
that is
sure
the
do.
engine that it still looks the best on. So, I mean, you can play you can play those at a higher resolution on modern systems without issues. Someone wrote like a custom OpenGL driver that you can, like, I'm running it in 1440 and it looks amazing. But as far as like color reproduction, for whatever reason, it still looks the best in Glide, like official Glide. Even Glide wrappers tend to get it wrong for some reason. So I'm not sure why, but if I'm going to play those games, if I'm going to play the single player campaigns, it's probably going to be with that. So
Yeah, I still play the classic Unreal Tournament from time to time. At pretty much every machine I build, I'm going to test a game or something. Like, yeah, let's fire it up.
Yep.
let's do it.
I
get lost in it for
love
hours and
the
oops.
original UT, but my heart still goes to 2K4. I just that is my jam. Between Unreal Tournament 2004 and Quake 3, I did not need another shooter ever for like a whole decade because
You didn't play 2K3, did you?
I did.
What'd you think of it?
2K3 was kind of like it blew my mind. But then 2K4 came out, and I'm like, oh, this
And it
feels
was much
like what it
better.
was supposed to be.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because like 2K3 was all like, that's kind of cool, new engine, new this, new that, you know. But it was a little rougher on the edges. Yeah, that and I did also play some Quake Live, but I still come back to the original Q3A. It's just something about it.
Quick Live, is that their free-to-play one?
Not their current one. So they came out with Quake Live. That one was Flash-based.
Oh.
And yeah, it's probably, I want to say 10 years ago, a little more.
Interesting.
And they had ladders, they had all of this stuff. Then they came out with a premium service that nobody really subscribed to that got you a couple extra maps. And then they're like, well, you know, they started doing their Quake Championship or Quake Champions.
Champions, that's what it was.
And so they sort of spun down Live, and what a disaster Champions is. Yep, nope, not going back to that. So.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah, it's besides that, I also been playing some World of Warcraft. Got all of my heirloom rings finally.
While we were at a convention.
That's true. I got the last one. I
on
got
hotel Wi-Fi.
Yep, I got the last one on shitty hotel Wi-Fi.
Nice.
Hey, to be fair, I was able to watch your stream briefly.
Yep.
But I was able to watch your stream some.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I've
Okay.
also been. They just came out with patch 8.1. Tides of something or other. I don't know. But oof, Blizzard, oof. It's not really
Doesn't
well
sound
received by fans.
No.
Oh boy.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's yeah, they added a new Warfront, and Warfronts by themselves are not really popular. They're like they introduced you know, more grinds because that's what Blizzard does now. So so more ways to sink your time in. Updates to the Azerite system, which nobody likes. And the list goes on. Yeah, so and it's also been pretty buggy. I've been trying to like go through like all of the old stuff, complete all the quests, get the achievements. And so I complete this step for an achievement. You know, some achievements are like multi-step. Like there's 5 different steps you got to do. And earlier this week, I ended up like completing one step, and then like their update came on just this last Tuesday, and this is on Monday. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna wake up, you know, go to work, come back home, and I'm gonna complete these quests. I'm going to complete this achievement. And I log on that night, and that step was marked incomplete suddenly. And so I put in a ticket, you know, a GM ticket, and they're like, oh, well, yeah. It takes a really long time, and sometimes those achievements are really tough. Just go around looking, you know, for the quests that you're missing. And I'm like, you really misunderstand.
Did
I already
anybody
did
read this?
Yeah, just like maybe if you read the ticket. So I appealed it, and the next person, you know, because the first person was like, oh well, nobody else is having a problem with this, and you know, our devs don't have any report of this. And I'm like, well, that's what sucks about being first then. So I appealed it, and I got a message back. Their ticket times were like 36 hours by that point, so there must have been some serious shit going on. And I get a response, and they're like, yeah, actually, there is a bug, and our devs are aware of this and working on it. And I'm like, well, thanks for leaving me hanging. What do I do in the meantime? So it's basically just a waiting game, and I just have to go and do other things and hope that, you know, they fix their shit. So
Waiting games with automated systems.
yeah. Well, that wasn't automated. These were definitely human beings.
You were ahead of the curve on that one.
Yeah. They're definitely human beings. It's just, you know, when it takes 36 hours for a response, you know, to something that I kind of feel like it got, you know, something that feels unfair, I'm going to be salty about it. So, And that's pretty much all I've been playing, minus like booting stuff up to benchmark it. My retro box, I can't upgrade it anymore. There's nothing else to do to it, so
Yeah, sure.
If you
Sure.
did, it wouldn't
2
be
hours
retro
later.
anymore, huh?
yeah. Well, I mean, it's pretty far from retro. It is a ridiculous machine. Like it has like an ISA sound card, but the processor also runs at 2.2 gigahertz. And it also has like 512 megs of RAM in it.
Yeah.
But it can still play all those old DOS games with perfect sound.
Oh,
So,
boy.
which is the only
I guess that's the point, right?
Oh, absolutely. I can play like it. I don't even care if it's period, accurate. I have hardware from 1989 inside this box, and I have hardware from 2018 inside this box. So,
And now for the Chronicles of MrBond.
Oh boy. Y'all ready for this? Strap
Da,
in.
da, 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 da.
Chronicles is a good word for it, actually.
oh yeah, here we
don't
go.
want to get a copyright strike.
Stare. So La Mulana is a game.
yeah. Oh my gosh, that was entertaining
That's
for us.
that was a game that I played for like 6 weeks. It's a puzzle platformer that was originally released back in, I want to say like 2009. The very first iteration of it was a Flash game. So it's like, kind of lo-fi, whatever, but they did a remake of it. And I believe another remake of it, which is what I ended up playing, La Mulana Remastered or whatever. And it took me 6 weeks to get through that goddamn thing.
Yeah.
And my soul is still kind of broken from it. So we're just not.
And you only cheated a little bit.
I did have to look a few things up
Yeah.
because I feel like I would have been at it another like 2 or 3 weeks if I hadn't. So that's now done and buried and gone forever. Bye, La Mulana. No one will miss you. Actually, a lot of people miss you apparently because I think it was single-handedly responsible for me getting affiliate. Stupid ass game.
Oh, there's a second. Don't worry.
I kind of hate it. I kind of hate that game. Let's be honest.
You don't like feeling dumb, do you?
It's not. I'm not dumb. The puzzles are obtuse. They're obtuse as hell.
That's part of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is. But there's a lot. The only reason I played this game is because there's a La Mulana 2. It had a Kickstarter. I backed it. It came out. I'm like, oh shit, I should probably play the first one before I play the second one.
You even bought into it.
I did. Of course
That's
I did.
awesome.
I love indie games and puzzle platformers and all that, but oh jeez.
Yeah, you're gonna get wrecked twofold. It's so good.
I'm gonna wait a bit before I play 2 because
Yeah.
I have not
Don't
yet...
let Sam down. Come on.
Oh, I'm gonna let him down hardcore. Because holy heck, my soul needs to heal from La Mulana yet.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that was definitely a long running thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be past it. It's done. It's done. After that, I started playing Zero Ranger. That's a nice kind of classic-ish shmup. Nice vertical shmup. Very good. Made by System Erasure. Tons of references to classic shmups like Gradius and R-Type and all sorts of things. Lots of tongue-in-cheek, jokey references, and very good gameplay. And a lot of very unique twists. So I won't go into it pretty much at all because I don't want to ruin it for people who want to play it. But I would definitely, even if you're not really into shmups at all, I would definitely recommend going to play it because it is a very good case study in shmup design. Visual design as well is very good. It's actually one of the few games I've seen that has like colorblind mode selectors.
Nice.
Like you can change the color palette so it's easier to play for someone with the color blindness, which is really cool. Which I actually prefer one of the colorblind modes because it looks nicer. But whatever. And then just recently, this past week, I started playing Dead Cells, which is a really awesome game
And very new.
and quite new apparently. So accidentally, I guess. But it's really cool. I was fighting what I presumed to be the final boss this past Wednesday night that I got like within 10% of his total health, but then died. So, but that was the last like third of that run was just kind of super clench and going.
Yep.
And things were working out, but then it didn't work out in the end, which is unfortunate. But I'm going to keep playing it because it's a lot of fun. It's one of those roguelite type things. You die, you start all the way over, which a lot of people find not great, but I personally like a lot because it's like, oh, it's a new thing, new experience every time. Let's go with it.
It makes you really good at the start of the game.
Sure does.
Yeah.
It sure as heck does. And for somebody like me who plays those games way too aggressively, yeah, there's a lot of very early game like, oops. Well, we're just gonna restart that.
Yep.
Yeah. So I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but given the fact that it's like this, I can just tune in whenever, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you won't be spoiled on it or anything like that.
So does it allow you to save progress if you have to quit?
It does.
All right.
It does, which I found out after I played a little bit off-stream like thing. I was just, okay, let's kind of explore it a little bit. Like, oh, well, does it allow me to save? No, it sure does. And pops you right back to where you were, so it's not like a checkpoint or a beginning
nice.
level type thing. It's just like drop
Nice.
it and come back, which is actually kind of nice.
Cool.
Which I probably should have used on Wednesday night since that was a 4-hour stream, and I normally go like 2.5. So,
Yeah, well.
oh
I
well.
mean, you probably started around 7:30.
Around 7ish, yeah. And I went
Yeah.
to like 11. I'm like, I should probably go to bed.
Yeah, sleep is good.
It is. It
Yeah.
surely is. Besides that, we played a little bit of Risk of Rain for November's co-op with 006. And it's a bit crashier than I remember.
Huh.
It took us a while to get a run to go fully through,
Oh no.
which is unfortunate, but it's a fun enough game where it's like, oh, okay, so it crashed like 5 or 10 minutes in, whatever, and just restart and go through it again.
They're going to say 5 or 10 times.
That's actually probably true too.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
which is
less
like
good.
it's like, oh no, I remember this being a bit more stable than that, but it's
Yeah.
it's fine. It's still like a really fun game. It's like a game from 2013 or something.
Sure.
So it's old-ish, but it's chunky pixels type thing, which is a visual style I really dig a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's like I have people like, oh, it's retro pixels. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a really fun game. I actually played that a little bit, kind of in between stuff too. It's one of those games where like you don't play it for a while, then you play it once, and you're like, I'm gonna go play that again and again and again because it's a lot of fun. And it's
Nice.
still crashy, but whatever. It's a thing. And then Shmup Book Club, a thing that our friend DI runs every weekend or month. And in October, our game was Ikaruga, which I happened to be the number 2 scorer in that one. So I subjected everybody's vote to Gradius 3 Arcade, which nobody won. Everybody is very dead set against playing Gradius 3 Arcade. But we'll get it one of these times.
Yep.
Just vote for it and get it over with, guys. What's the
It's
problem here?
going to be the least bad choice one of these times.
Eventually it will. It is now the meme choice. When previously Super EDF was the meme choice. So
Nice.
is taking up
And
that
that was
mantle here.
chosen.
It was.
So-
Eventually it was chosen.
Yeah.
But apparently it has a lot of detractors, so we'll see. We'll see if we can get that on there. In November, the game was Batsugan SP, which is a manic arcade shooter, vertical shooter, which has just hilarious English translations for some of the stuff. So that generated a few memes on its own. It's hilarious. Let's see. Is that the one? Yeah. Okay. So the game over and continue countdown has just a bunch of grunting. It's literally what it is. It's
All
like,
right.
okay. Well, we all kind of turn off the continue screen because it just makes it easier and faster to go through the thing. But it's an experience to hear that. My goodness, that is a hilarious game. And now this month for December, we're playing Dodonpachi 2 B-Storm, which is an interesting game in and of its own.
All right.
Does it have bees?
It does have a lot of bees. There are several bees, in fact. Probably enough to be considered a storm. But it's an interesting, another manic style shooter with bullet grazing and too much shit going on the screen, really, as most of these games do. But since this is now the 1-year anniversary of the Shmup Book Club, we're running an extra game, Strikers 1945 2, which was the first game run for Shmup Book Club, which I wasn't a part of until May of this year. But it's a pretty reasonable game in and of itself. It borrows a lot from 1942, 1943,
Okay.
as the name might suggest.
Right.
I could get into that. Those
yeah.
those games were my jam.
Yeah,
So.
certainly, and it has very much the visual style. You recognize some of the tunes, kind of as remixes or rearrangements of those sorts of things. A lot of different selectable airplanes you can use, and it's kind of a ridiculous thing. It's probably most accurately described as like an alt history type thing,
Okay.
where it's just ridiculous shit happens, and it's just like whatever. It's a shooter, nobody cares. And,
Jamestown 2.
like it's like, oh yeah, I'm fighting an aircraft carrier that is suddenly a flying mech. Excuse me? Okay, well, whatever. it's whatever. Don't worry about it. Besides that, the quarterly shmup is Daimahu, which is
That's a game.
it's a very game, and it's a good game. It's got a lot of very unique mechanics to it, and I like it. But damned if it's not irritating as hell trying to do well with it, because some genius, and that's a very, very kind term to use, decided to make the bullets and the pickups the same color.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, that's not great, because as you're trying to go for a cluster of shit, you'll just get whacked by something. You're like, no, excuse me, what was that? And it's like, fuck. There's a lot of just spiking runs and early restarts in that one too, which is whatever. It's a fun game regardless. But aside from that, I've been doing my standard weekly Link to the Past randomizers. I've started including the enemy randomizer in those as well, which has made it a lot more fun, actually.
I want to say that I watched the
for us,
first
too.
one. I think.
The first one was pretty reasonable.
Remind me which night that was.
That would have been, let's see, not last weekend, but the weekend before.
So I did see that at MFF. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would have been super early December, probably.
Yeah, I was losing my shit. It was good. And
That
then you
one-
played the Triforce Hunt version of it, and it went a little faster.
That the first weekend of it when I did the enemy randomizer was fine. Like, it wasn't too much worse than a normal one.
I thought it was funny.
But this last one, oh my god,
Yes.
this last one was just terrible.
Yes.
So I play with
Oh
it
my
set
God.
to boss shuffle in full,
Uh-huh.
which essentially means like take all the bosses, throw them in the randomizer, and whatever. But it takes, because you do the 3 refights in Ganon's Tower,
Right.
it picks a random out of those 3 bosses to double up. So it's not necessarily going to be 2 Armos, 2 Lanmos, and 2 Wormulons.
Love it.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, okay, well, we could get really fucked by this, or it could be, whatever. So of course, 2 of the doubled up ones were
Trinex. Had to be.
Trinex
Yes.
and Vitreous.
Awesome.
Ah! And one of the Vitreouses is in Tower of Hera.
Right.
Quite early on,
Yeah.
when I didn't have a good sword.
Yeah, you were using
and
your
I had
hammer.
the hammer.
Uh-huh. I remember that now.
And green mail, so every bop was 3 hearts. I was like, no, please stop.
Yeah, we were losing our shit. It was the best.
Oh no, it's like, it's a fun mode. It adds a lot of different
Oh.
stuff to it, but
Right, we had a visitor and we were all
We
losing
did.
our shit. We didn't watch the show we were going to watch because we were too busy watching you have a good time. Because I had it on when he stopped by and he was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, what the hell is this indeed, my
Yep,
friend?
we were
Yeah.
gonna watch anime, but then we decided to watch you
Ugh.
suffer
God.
instead.
It was a lot better, I have to say.
That was I'll still play it with the enemy randomizer, because it does make it a lot more interesting and a lot less rote as to what you have to do and what you need to watch out for.
I'm still waiting for Door Shuffle at some point.
I don't know if
Entrance
I wanna do
randomizer.
that.
Sorry, I had to remember the
Yeah, I
name.
don't know if I want to do that. Like, the only reason I can do randomizers is because I have a map and an item tracker next to me to do it.
They do
But
have a tracker for it.
for entrance rando, really?
I believe they do.
Oh wow, that's gotta be a thing then.
Yeah, it's like a big old spreadsheet.
Oh boy. Oh no.
Well, I mean, like, it's just because there's so many items.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they try to
would
make
have
it clear.
be.
I'm pretty sure I've seen something like this. Either that or somebody did their
Hmm.
own homebrew, but
That's
no.
interesting. I might have to look into that then. I'd like to do a key sanity at some point as well.
Those are cool.
But that'll definitely be just one a night because of how dicked about you can get by it.
Yeah. Huh. I could see you ramping up to that. That'd probably be a happy thing to do before entrance.
That'll be a thing in the future,
Yeah.
I think. I'm just very slowly working my way up this tree, because I played like not even open mode, but standard mode for a while before that. Okay, let's try open. All right, open was another step up, and then okay, let's try enemy rando. Okay,
Yeah.
I was there. And then actually this last weekend I turned on pot shuffle for that too.
Yeah, that was
Which-
real good in
Which
Swamp.
is interesting. It's a very interesting way to go about things, because
I didn't even know there was that platform up there.
Yeah, right? I
It
was
was
just like,
so
wait, where
funny.
the fuck is this key? Oh, it's up there. How do you get there?
Yeah.
It's interesting. So the basic gist of it is it takes whatever's under pots and skulls or whatever if you're in the dark world, and it shuffles them around in that same room. So if there's going to be a key under this pot over here, well, it might not be under that one. It might be under this other one in this other room, or in the same room but over in the other corner, which makes dark rooms, if you do them, very interesting.
Yeah.
Which I actually did a dark room in Eastern with one of the keys into the pots, and it was in the vanilla location, so I was like,
yeah,
yes. It was actually pretty funny.
But you were having issues because the enemies that were in there were not Stealthos.
Correct.
They were something else.
Yeah, it makes the enemy rando with dark rooms is very treacherous because you don't know what you're up against.
And I mean, it could just be a single bop and you're dead.
Yeah, it could be a spike roller, it could be a chain chomp, it could be something very bad, and you don't want to deal with it in the dark.
Oh, Lionels are fine. It's fine.
Lionel, Lionels are another thing. But besides that, I've been doing my Assault Android Cactus every week as well. For now, I am focusing purely on Infinity Drive, because I've got one Android left to do Infinity Drive with before I sweep the board with all 9. And of course, it's the worst one. It's not. No, that's not true. It's not the worst one. It's just the one I'm least familiar with playing. Shiitake. Actually.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
I think it was either going to be peanut, licorice, or shiitake. Okay.
Licorice was a lot of fun to play. My second last one was Coral because I don't like playing as Coral.
Hey, but you finished Infinity Drive.
I did, which was the important part. Which it's like
never again.
Never again. Oh. Yes, exactly. Because it's just like fuck this play style. I don't like it.
Yeah, no, that is not a you character.
Shiitake is reasonably fun, but she's a lot more deliberate.
Yeah.
If you miss a shot, you're fucked.
Yeah.
So you gotta be sure about yourself, but you also gotta go fast because you gotta keep that chain going, keep your batteries flowing, and so it's like, well, this will be interesting to try to get this done, but it's possible. So let's finish this off. But I won't probably be going back to normal speedruns for that until I finish Infinity Drive with her.
Cool.
Then I might do like Mega Weapons, or maybe for more first-person shooter mode with it, because that was a
curious about
fuck.
Mega Weapons. Not familiar.
So Mega Weapons changes. See, I haven't even played Mega Weapons, so I don't even know the full extent of it. But at least the secondaries are swapped out with a beefed-up version of something that would be relevant to each android.
Okay.
So for Starch, it's a Mega Laser. For I don't know, for Licorice, I think it's some sort of other bladed type weapon, but it totally flips everything on its head because normally the
mechanics. Yeah.
Normally the primaries and secondaries are pretty well balanced.
Yeah.
But the Mega Weapons are apparently very different. So as soon as I finish this Infinity Drive garbage, I'll probably try some of that and see how it changes things.
That's a good way to add content to this game, is change the weapons.
It sure is.
Because it's all about weapon management.
And I wish I could talk about the other thing I'm playing with that game, but I can't. I really wish I could.
NDA?
Sort of.
Ooh.
More like out of respect, but yes, I really wish I could say.
But that's off stream.
It is off stream.
I got you. Okay. Mm-hmm. Is that what's been eating up time?
Okay. No, I really should play more of that when I get a chance. Because of things,
sure. It sounds cool.
Maybe I can convince him to be like, hey, can I just chill this a little bit? But yeah.
That would be really rad.
It would be super cool. But of course, I played stuff for the marathons. Mostly Cactus. Surprise, surprise.
Yep. Yeah.
3 runs of it in Super Sigma Slam 2018, which is a lot of fun, which included a Infinity Drive run.
Yeah, that was a bulk launcher.
Yeah.
I almost said bulk launcher. Whoops. Not the same.
I should not have played that in a marathon setting, but I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah.
That was
you and everybody else
for
in
a
2
marathon
a.m.
setting.
Super hilarious.
1 a.m. But yeah,
super hilarious how it worked out. And then an FPS mode, Extra Life 2018, which was a garbage fire, as expected, because I just do not have a lot of practice with it, and frankly, it's difficult to play. And it's difficult to watch.
Because the
encoder had a real good time with it too.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
I'm sure it did.
Halfway through it, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, well, I mean, for a typically 2D game, you don't have to deal with that pesky Z-axis, but first-person mode, you sure as fuck do.
Yep.
Just keep your shit level and hope it works out. Although it is fun to just point something up into something's face and just.
And of course, with the victory, like your character does a 360, so like right at the end of the level, it's still like.
Yeah, that I'm super glad they didn't do that for the level intro, because some of them do like backflips and front flips
Oh my
into the
gosh.
level itself. So it's like, I enjoyed my dinner because here it comes again. But yeah, of course, we did our Battletoads thing for Extra Life and Jamestown for Extra Life. Myself and Boris did Double Dragon 2 for Super Stigma Slam 2018. That was a trash fire.
Yeah.
You tried.
We did give it a go. We gave it the old college try on both Mode A and Mode B, which Mode B didn't go as terribly as I expected. So whatever.
It's true.
Really sad that we didn't make it through Mode A because I thought we had a fighting chance with that one, but whatever.
It's a fighting game.
Yeah, I get it. And then we did our Mario Kart 8 randomized stuff,
Yeah.
which I suggested we actually pull up a random number generator to do this, but no, people didn't want to do that.
But you have to decide what's index 0.
Yeah.
I mean, with the
could've-
characters, that's one thing, but with
Could've
everything
done
else,
it would have been difficult, yeah. We could have done just like number of ticks up and down on each of the spinning wheel dealios for the parts or whatever, but that's fine. Okay, I think it's time for Toonskis Part 2.
All right. Dang. The town that's right for me. DJ Pretzel. Phantasy Star 3 Generations of Doom.
A remix from Tyrants entitled The Vast Glass Orb by In Rudiment.
And then I've got a remix from Super Mario World titled 9-Inch Super Mushrooms from Chimpazilla and Blind.
Honk.
Don't worry, I didn't hit pause at the wrong time.
Yeah, that
Do
was
not
just-
worry your little heads about it.
I
That
meep
totally
sometimes.
had a little meep meep F at the end.
Yeah,
Sure
It's fine.
did. It wasn't just a slow fade out. It was a slow fade out with a.
Meh. It's just I do that sometimes, you know.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
It
especially
happens.
after dinner.
Meh.
Well, exactly.
Oh boy,
So, ad hoc
Oh,
design
yeah.
time.
We
I'm
got
just going to
some
go ahead and
designs.
start
go for it.
just so I can blast through this.
Go for it.
So, it's been 3 months since we've had ad hoc designs.
Sure
and
has.
I was thinking of I want to make a game that's impactful, but it also has a single word title. That was my parameter this time. So I decided to make a game called Pluck. It is a musical puzzle platformer. One player, either controller or keyboard. Graphic style is cartoony / pixel. I actually really like the graphic style of La Mulana for this one, so we'll drag your
Okay.
your terrible repressed memories out of the side here. But
It hasn't been that long. I haven't developed repressed memory. I still remember every gosh dang soul-searing moment of that game.
Temple of the Sun. Anyway,
Ah.
audio style, I want it to be acoustic or natural sounds because we're in a forest. I mentioned that, or
Fair.
didn't mention that, but I kind of alluded to it. But point of view is from the side. So I don't want it to be first person. I don't want it to be 3D. I want it to be from the side, oddly like La Mulana. Story-wise, I actually made a real nice little mini 20-second thing for the story. Ages ago, the caretakers of the forest would use song as they traveled to the lands outside, and the forest was very pleased by this. Over time, the music waned and the forest grew and grew, trying to find the music until eventually it gave up. Forest now overgrown, a child wanders into the woods and is lost, and nobody can make their way inside without recreating the melodies of old. There we go.
Okay.
So the hook for this, the creatures therein and the forest itself can be taught components of these old melodies, and through puzzle solving, additive harmony, and platforming prowess, the protagonist can move further and further into the woods. So essentially, you are in an area and you need to figure out, okay, how do I get these things to go into their right places? How do I trigger certain events to happen? How can I make a noise keep happening perpetually? I'll use that word, perpetuity.
Okay.
Ha
Full circle.
that kind of thing. So your inventory includes a traveler's journal which you found, which obviously, well, you can't just have all the answers, so some of it's going to be smudged and whatever. As you figure things out from you're like, oh, okay, so this is mentioning this area, you can start piecing clues together and actually write in your log to say, okay, this is how we solved the puzzle. This is not something that's randomly generated, but it could be, depending. This time, I don't know, I was thinking of something fairly simple where it's like we have a story, we have an endpoint, let's just do it, see what happens, and maybe we can build off of something from there. But the Traveler's Journal you add to over time. You have a knife so that you can cut things away to try to get in two paths you otherwise wouldn't normally be able to. Flares to burn some certain things down and also let other things know that you're there, so you might be able to track them or drive them away, depending. A canteen because, well, you're in the middle of the woods, you need some water. You'll occasionally find some. Is it clean? Who knows? You'll need to find out. A fan because, well, you might need to move some sort of things out of the way that are out of your reach, so you might have to fan them away and see if you can get something to move.
Oh, I was thinking one of the handheld dealies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can turn that into a portable cutter of sorts, maybe. Boots. Boots are good to have.
What are those?
I don't know. They make it go real fast in another game.
Apparently.
But for all of these things, minus like the Traveler's Journal, you'll find upgrades along the way because travelers of old left things behind for those in the future, etc. The mechanics in this game involve teaching melodies to the forest flora and fauna. You use weather to create perpetual rhythm, which, if it decides to be windy, you would use that to your advantage in order to, say, perhaps make a brushing sound that's pretty constant. Let's see here. You would solve riddles by completing objectives in order to add voices to the melody. Movement is similar to traditional platform games. You're running and jumping. You're being able to grab ledges and fall down without taking damage, that kind of thing. In addition, jumping from limb to limb, using limb jumping to actually gain height over time based on your weight on going back onto the limb, so it goes further down. You have to make sure you don't break it, though. Climbing and swinging from vines, cutting vines away, making ladders and things, depending on what type of materials you might find, using large leaves as parasails, that kind of stuff. And the objective is to return the various melodies to the forest, traverse to the innermost thicket, and save the lost child. So that's the game. No big thing here, just it's a puzzle platformer with music. There you go.
Okay, so are you guiding the child out of the forest or into?
You have to find the child.
Oh, you're trying to
at
find.
that
Okay,
point,
okay.
the forest where you had been is just a normal forest. You can just leave.
Sure. Okay.
I don't know. They followed some sort of evil little forest animal or something. I don't know. Shrug. I haven't gotten that far yet.
Squirrel.
Damn it.
Well, all right, interesting. Well, forestry apparently is the theme of the day.
I guess so.
Because my design is also very forest based, although not child based.
How perpetual though?
Pretty perpetual. It's a go until you fail type game,
All
an
right,
arcade
yeah,
style game as I am want to play and design.
And
because
you would play that with great perpetuity.
I would probably, and this I like this design because it's been stewing for 3 months.
Oh, nice.
Because I started it in October, then I realized that month was gonna be a postmortem for Super Stigma Slam.
Right.
And moved it to November, but then that one was a postmortem for Extra Life.
Right.
And now we're here in December. So this one's been percolating for a bit, which is really kind of fun because it's like 2 pages long. So this is a nature-based survival platformer. Has no relation to La Milana, because fuck that game. But it's based in a dense-ish forest. Trees and branches are your platforms, and you are a bird. A jerk bird, if you will, because every game needs a jerk bird. The game ends when you fall below the bottom of the screen or get too far off the sides, a la Smash rules, because Smash is apparently popular with the kids these days. You move to tree to tree while the seasons change. New trees grow, old ones wither, die, fall down, get chopped down, burned down, etc. You avoid enemies such as predatory birds, aggressive insects, high-jumping ground-based predators, or predators that can climb the trees and move from tree to tree with you, so you gotta avoid them. You can collide with neutral entities, other non-predatory birds, non-hostile insects, the occasional flying disc, because damn you kids for playing in the forest. So I'm sensing a little bit of crossover here that maybe we could do. As seasons progress, the physics changes, as does the number and properties of the available trees and the likelihood of certain events. So you start in the springtime, new tree growth, young trees and branches bend more under your bird's weight, but can assist in higher jumping the further out you get to the branch. Heavy particles in the air, such as pollen or other tree dander, may slow your movement, block you from your moving side to side or up and down. In summer, there's a lot of very strong and vibrant foliage. Many leaves may block a clear view of your platforms, block clear branches. Lots of bugs to impede your path, because fuck summer bugs, and a very high chance of fires. Make sure you pay attention to that little Smokey the Bear sign that the risk of fire today is medium, etc. That's probably only a joke that the Midwesterners or Northwesterners will get. In the fall, leaves will continue to block your view as they fall from the trees. It may also slow your movement. Dying branches will lose strength. Greater chance of them snapping when you land on them or try to jump from them. Higher chance of lumberjacking events where trees will just suddenly... So watch out for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
In winter, everybody loves ice physics. Guess what?
Yeah.
That's what winter's all about.
Ooh.
Snowfall. Yeah, exactly, right. Snowfall slows movement. Snow-covered branches may slow movement. Iced branches equals, you guessed it, ice physics. Many small branches are brittle and will collapse if you spend too long on them. Heavy snowfall may topple the older tree altogether. And each cycle you make through each season increases your score multiplier, because this is a true arcade-style game.
And you gotta have multipliers.
As of course, you gotta have multipliers.
It is required.
It is a requirement, otherwise you cannot release this game. As a bird, you can jump a short height up, and you can jump and glide for a longer horizontal distance. Apparently, you're not a very strong bird, because you can't just fly forever. However, you can fly a very limited amount via a stamina gauge that you can't see. You just kind of got to gauge it out a little bit. It recharges slowly while you're not in the air, but it recharges faster if you're just standing still. You can use all of your stamina for a quick power flat move in any direction, so a very quick dash style move. But you cannot reuse until your stamina fully recharges. So be careful with that. You can't directly attack any enemies because, let's face it, you're a very peaceful jerk bird.
How? What?
Yeah, I know, right? That's very, very contradictory.
Yeah, all right.
However, you can cause certain bad things to happen indirectly, such as standing near the end of the branch will bend it downward, and you can jump off and to gain some height, and that branch snap back will affect other entities, neutrals and hostiles alike. Landing on a branch with loose leaves or standing water and rain and snow on it can shake a bit of it loose and affect stuff below it. Landing on a weaker, brittle branch can break it, the debris of which will affect stuff below it as well. As far as various events that can happen in the spring, many new trees appear, as noted before. They will gradually grow higher as the seasons progress. More branches, more foliage, that sort of thing. Forest fires can occur, which will take out a large string of trees, depending on their age, and if they're dying, or summer, it's a higher chance of forest fires happening, and stuff like that. Lumberjacking is more common in the fall and winter seasons, so random trees will just suddenly disappear. Oh no, you better be in the air before they fall. Other weather type effects, rainstorms, slows movement by a large amount, causes water to pool on branches that you can also use to your advantage by dropping them on certain enemies. Lightning, don't be on a tree when it gets struck by lightning, otherwise it's instant game over. If you're in a very near adjacent tree, you might get stunned for a bit. Snowstorms, heavy snowfall, heavy buildup on branches will cause them to break. If enough snow falls on a tree, it might just topple over altogether. And then, of course, one of my favorite weather effects, high winds. Heavy impact on your horizontal movement may prevent you from moving at all for a certain time, so be very careful when that sort of thing starts kicking up. And that's about it. I'm a big fan of crunchy game mechanics, kind of interacting with each other. A lot of systems doing a lot of interplay.
That's why you like NetHack.
I know, right?
I can just imagine like the intro to High Winds being like you try to take off and it just goes right against the side of a tree.
Exactly.
And I'd be like,
It's like, yeah, you best not jump, boy. You gonna get swept away.
Yep.
Game over. Start over.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Cool. I like it.
I'd play it.
So would I.
I played it.
I gotta make it first.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
We got a third forest-based game just to make it a hat trick here, or no?
No, not
Oh,
really. I mean,
dang.
the aesthetics for this could really be anything. So maybe Deep Dark Forest could work for this. But this focuses a lot more on the base mechanic rather than like atmosphere, because it's a ribbon rhythm game. And it's lane based. So what I mean by ribbon is typically, so in rhythm games, you're kind of used to like there's a static play field that your notes kind of come down, and this is, you know, like you kind of read it and stuff like that. But this is not a static play field. This is you are traveling along effectively this ribbon that has, like, you know, the different markers on it for when you're supposed to press. And so you're always moving through this. It might curve around, it might twist a little bit, that kind of stuff. So it's a play field that's a whole lot more dynamic, and you're effectively just playing markers off of this ribbon. Kind of think of it like, like, you know, gosh, what am I? There's something in music. I guess it's like a music box type cylinder thing where it's got like the little marks in it, but like you're always moving across the surface.
Okay, so it's not a cylinder necessarily. It's all
Right.
kind of sprung out to
and
entire
effectively like a whole song consists of like start to end of this ribbon. Like it's just ribbons of music. And so there are 3 distinct lanes on it. And at least in the earlier modes, maybe a harder mode will have more lanes or something like that. And you change between them by effectively like pressing a direction that is towards the lane you want to move to. Since the play field can really like twist and turn anywhere, and you might be like doing like a top down view, and like it might just turn somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So using something that's just like simply left and right is not going to work with a mechanic like that. So instead, you just press the direction on your D-pad or analog stick or what have you, and you'll actually move towards that direction, to switch lanes. There are different indicators that you'll come across. There are going to be tap indicators, which effectively it's all like you just press the button, when you cross it, and that'll, play a note. That's kind of, the simplest. There'll be hold indicators where it'll just be like strips of color where, as you're going across that section of the ribbon, you just got to hold down, that color. There are lift indicators, which are you are supposed to release the button instead of press it. So like at that point, you have to be holding the button down, and then when the marker comes, you release it. So kind of the opposite of like a push. Just the tap one. There are mines, which obviously you just want to straight up avoid, and anti-indicators, which are they're present. You want to be in that particular lane, but you don't want to be pressing any of the buttons. So it's entirely positional at that point. And they're all going to be like different shapes, to kind of indicate, like what kind of marker that they are. The indicators themselves will come in one of 3 colors: red, green, blue. They correspond to different buttons on your controller. So this is going to be like a directional +3 button rhythm game.
In addition to the shapes that they already are, or are shapes
no, the
and
shapes
colors
are just
different?
So the shapes are to indicate to you what it is that you are supposed to do, and the colors indicate which of the buttons you are supposed to press. And the lanes are just like a 2D positional thing, like, you have to move into the appropriate lane because, like, these markers are not going to be present in every lane.
Okay.
So you want to be in whatever lane it is that's going to have, like, the markers that you're wanting. So you have to switch lanes in between button presses and stuff like that. So it's like, analog stick and pressing the 3 buttons, as you would any other rhythm game. There will be like, a color blind mode because the colors are significant. So if you want to remap them to other colors, you may. There'll be some preset, gradients or, just color combinations that kind of work around, the specific kinds of, color blindness.
Accessibility options. It's
basically,
good.
yeah. Good. The ribbons can split and reform, so you can kind of think of it like if you're on like a 3-lane ribbon, one of the lanes can split off and go ahead and do it, like go on to its own path and maybe rejoin later up. It'll take you to like a different section of the song. Kind of think of it as like an alternate arrangement for that part. And they'll rejoin and they'll split and become more lanes and all this other fun stuff. The scoring is based on accuracy. There is no life bar. It's basically like you are attempting to score the best that you can on any particular stage. So it's not... you don't have to maintain like a life bar or any of that stupid crap. It's like, you can easily select something that is well beyond your skill and you can score absolutely crappy on it if you really want to.
But there's no failure mode that'll kick you out like a quarter of the way through if you do too terribly.
Maybe if it's like an arcade cabinet, that would need to be a thing because you got to think like you're going to want to punish players who are like trying to play way out of their league. But
Sure,
like for
sure.
home version or, Steam release or, itch release.
Epic Games release
Yeah.
or Discord release.
Yep.
It's
For
2018,
any of the
man.
the stuff that's
2018.
But
that's
definitely
at
not
home.
Origin release.
Not
Yeah,
Origin
no.
release, and not Uplay release. No, fuck those.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point that out
Yeah.
before the list continued.
Yep.
Ugh.
Ugh.
So you will your scoring is going to be better based on combos and accuracy. So your score will be exponentially better, the better that you perform just because of the nature of combo scoring and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's pretty much where it ends. It's just going to be the very easy modes is going to be the ribbon's probably not going to shift around a whole lot. You might even get that static playfield that I was talking about just to familiarize yourself with it. But as they become more difficult, you'll get splits and stuff, and the replay value comes from those splits and also trying to get better because you'll hear different versions of the song if you go into different splits of the ribbon.
Okay,
So,
that would have been my next question: is if splits result in different kind of sections of a track. And...
Absolutely, they'll just effectively be different mixes of the same song.
Cool.
So you might have a common section, and then there will be a split, and one goes off into maybe a breakbeat version, and the other might go into a dubstep version or something like that.
Sure.
And then it'll just rejoin later to kind of come back to the common theme of the song.
Okay. I hope there's always a bass drop at every split. Then.
It'll be bass drop, and then there's the split, and then you'll just pick it up, whatever you picked, whatever you selected, it'll just fit perfectly.
Great.
Good. All right. Cool.
That's all I got for you.
Cool. Same.
All right. Any other final closing remarks? This has been a longer than usual show, but this has been our first normal show since doing the two postmortems.
For a few months. There's been a lot of
September.
stuff that's happened.
Since September.
Yeah.
You're right. Jesus. Goddamn. 2018, man.
Since pre-wedding. There we go.
This is true.
Yeah. But I do have one more thing. I
Okay.
guess a reminder. 2 weeks from now, we'll be doing that game party thing. It's probably going to be on this channel. It's going to be split across 2 days, the 28th and 29th. No set schedule. We'll let you know more details as we approach.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a bunch of casually played games. We're not going to make any attempt to do speed runs or races or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because it's effectively us as Zero Hour Productions and volunteers and associates and whoever else coming together. That's a good Vanna wave there.
That one.
Coming together and just kind of chilling a little bit. We've done a lot of things in 2018. We've done a lot of new things for us in 2018 as far as events are concerned. And make no mistake, we've enjoyed doing it. But there's always that kind of cause if we're doing so much formal structured stuff, there's no chance for us to let go, to have fun and just do casual things.
I'm going to bring it back in
Right.
for a moment and just indulge in gaming.
Yeah, certainly. And we want to give that final fuck you to 2018.
Yeah, pretty much.
And see you in hell.
Yeah. Ugh.
And bring in 2019 the proper way with fun and merriment and drink and good friends and good stuff like that. So hopefully you can join us at twitch.tv/zerohourproductions.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that reminds me of one more thing I want to bring up as well. We've had a 2-month debacle with YouTube, which I'm hoping, quote unquote, is now finally resolved thanks to a lot of persistence from many different angles. I appreciate everybody who has helped us through this damnable situation, because that's the best way I can find to describe it.
Yeah.
But we will be getting the rest of our Super Stigma Slam 2018 full quality videos up there. We'll also be transferring over our videos from Extra Life 2017 from last year, the stuff we just did from 2018, the stuff we started doing multimedia now for insert credits, as well as any future events we post as well, including the upcoming kind of casualish thing in 2 weeks. So keep an eye out for that. It'll be on Twitter, both of our official company Twitter, 0 Hour PRDCTNS, because we had to meet that 14-character limit, as well as probably a lot of our personal Twitters will be retweeting it as well. So don't fret about not being able to find it. We will get out the word as much as we can as soon as we're 99% certain that nothing else will happen with this YouTube thing.
I am not going to let you all forget.
Good, thank you.
I won't shut up about it.
I haven't been shutting up about it either, because this stupid turn of events is just very stressful, and I don't like it. but it's been resolved supposedly. But we'll keep you all apprised of it. With that, thank you for watching and listening to us just bray on about everything and nothing all at the same time. I am Mr. Bond.
I'm Tormod.
And I'm Saxxon.
We'll leave you with our typical closing track, a remix from Mario Kart Wii entitled Wind in Your Hair by Overclocked University. Good night, everybody.
Ciao.
Adios.